Hello, my tea stirrers. We want to talk about Black History Month today. We want to talk about Black History Month and what it means to us and what it does not mean to us. So yeah, we're going to wait for some people to come on up in here. Does it matter? Does it matter to you? Doesn't it matter? We've been doing Black History Month. We've been doing Black History Month for a very long time, as long as we can remember. And it's also the shortest month. So yeah, we're gonna wait for some people to get up in here. Yeah, here we are. This time we're gonna have to wait. This is something we need to have this talk, people. You know, should we depend on these schools to teach our kids Black history? What does Black History Month even mean? What are we learning? So we're gonna wait. Because this is going to be a panel. This is not going to be listen to me. This is going to be a panel. Let me see if I can change the panel. Can I change it? Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. Wait. This is an open panel. See, we can't keep our minds stuck on one thing, but this is something I want to talk about. It's the middle of Black History Month. Hey, Dr. Mira, give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second, sweetie. I would like to know, hey, Real Talk TV, I would like to know, is Black History Month necessary? Is it not necessary? But before we start, we're just going to look at some pictures because we need to know, what does they mean by Black History Month? We've been Black all our lives. When does the information supposed to start? In America? Were we only in America? And then for Black Americans, do you think that before we even start to find out about Black history, we need to start with our own history? You can't have Black history without our own history, which means we need to find out where do we come from Africa? Africa is a whole continent. So each part, even if you're in the same country, there's still different tribes in each country. There's different customs. And like it's really confusing. So what is what? So we need some people to come up here and talk about it. We need to talk about it. But hold on. We're gonna start watching this, just a little American history, which even in America, we're still not taught our history. And it's not just about us being slaves, but they never really, I mean, we need to know, is it necessary? Are we really learning anything, or do we know these things already? And who should teach it to us? I mean, it's like so many things. This is like a gumbo. I'm talking about a gumbo. What do we do with this gumbo? As Black Americans, which Black is not even a race, Black is a color. You can't say we African American. We don't know where we from Africans. In America, yeah, we are from, but we don't know. We just don't know nothing. But I'm gonna put the invite button up in here. Let's have a little talk today. Maybe somebody will catch this video. Let's have a good panel today. Don't forget to come on up, Amira and Real Talk. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. And we got to talk about the Black people that was here already before we became slaves. The people that they do call indigenous, they were Black. But they keep talking, oh, the Indians, the Americans, they were Black. They were Black. We've been taking trips out of Africa. We've been here in America. Remember, it was 12 tribes. 10 tribes stayed and went through West Africa. The other 2 tribes came over here, which was called the Native Americans, but they were still Black, melanated people, still melanated people. Come on now. It's not going to be me talking. Hit that link, hit that link, hit that link, hit that link. Let's go. Hit that link. Come on, hit that link, because ain't no sense in me talking. We got to do a panel. And if it's not a panel, we'll try it again later. I will erase this and we'll start it another one later. But we got to get a panel up here. But in between time, I'm going to show you a little something. I'm not going to let you hear it. You're just going to see it. This is just not our history. This is not our only history, but this is what we're known for. And this is not even what they talk about. Look what they're doing to his foot. Hey, foot soldier, let me go back. I'm going to go back for the people that's just coming in. Let me go back. We're going to go back, and while you guys are calculating in your mind, don't forget, you can come up now. You can come on up. We might do a part 2 later, but I'm going to let these pictures show, and then I'm going to let this guy speak, and then we're going to speak right afterwards. Photo. Just look at this. Just look at these photos. Let's just look. Again, shouldn't our history, how do you take out, like, we're here like 500 years. So that's like 400 years you've been here. So that's only five generations of 100 years. So do we forget about the six when we wasn't here? But remember, look at us. Just look at these pictures. This is not this which I know I got one of my co-hosts. And really explain how you feel. We're gonna have this guy talk, and then after this guy has something to say, then we're gonna have something to say. She getting ready anyway. And I loved your chat today, sis. You had a great live today. And I wish it was longer. I can't play the music because I don't want to get a copyright strike. Still may get a strike for the video, but remember, we were here already. Remember when we first was here? And even in Mexico, in different places, they strolls were, Sugar, tell us what you know. It's not about what I know, it's about what we know. There was supposed to be the American Indians. I told you they was black. And if the point is not what we know, is what we should know. So is it necessary? Shouldn't it be every day, all day? Should it be just like put to 1 month? The shortest month? Remember, all of these countries, we were slaves, and this is Brazil. Dude, they don't even speak upon our Latin black people. How do you have Black History Month and our Latin brothers and sisters don't even participate? And the slave boat dropped there too. This is Brazil. They was in Portuguese. Black folks was dropped everywhere. Everywhere. Look at this. How do you have Black History Month and we don't even speak upon the Spanish countries, the Spanish islands? How? I would like to know, how is that possible? How is that? How we don't speak upon Honduras? How we don't speak upon Panama? How we don't speak upon Costa Rica? How we don't speak about Puerto Rico? We so quick to say, oh, the first black. No, they black too. Why we don't speak upon the first black people that was in Australia were black people? We was all up in Europe too. We was in the first black people in Russia was black people too. So what does this really truly is Black History Month necessary when it takes you many years to truly learn and to read about yourself? Now we're going to hear what this guy got to say. If you could share this video, please share this video. We're going to talk. We're going to talk. I don't know what he's going to say. I'm going to be just as shocked as you. I'm going to be just as shocked as you. Well, let's see what he got to say. That's okay, Kiana. We just glad you're here, baby. We just glad you're here. And you got to remember, some people don't have no electricity. Like a lot of people in Texas and different places. So it gets sometimes it's like that. We just glad you're here, sis. How you doing? How's that baby doing? Now he said it shouldn't exist. He's going to explain this to us. And we're going to hear it, and then we're going to speak upon it ourselves. I bear to differ what he's saying. I bear to differ, and that's because they don't have a history. We're the only ones that have the history. Our history goes way back to the ancient, whatever you want to call ancient, to the first electricity, from the first canals, from the pyramids. We have a history. We knew about the plants, the herbs. We knew everything. We already had a history. That's what I'm trying to explain to y'all. So y'all not going to teach us none of that history that we had before we got here. But we're going to finish hearing him out, because I would like to know, in America, is Black History Month necessary? She's doing fine. Oh, I told all her aunties said hello. Woo! my man on the road. And that, oh, you look so beautiful there, boss lady. Woo.
Oh, thank you.
My man on the road. Gotta cut your YouTube, mute your YouTube.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There you
How's it
go.
going, ladies?
That beautiful smile you got.
Hi.
Okay. And my sister queen up there, y'all gotta check her out. Y'all have to check her out. When she on the road, she on the road. She had a great live this morning. Make sure y'all all subscribe to my, at the end, we're gonna drop her link. At the end, we drop her link. But I want to sit back and I want to hear you guys' opinion. So Dr. Mira, sound off co-host. After you unmute yourself.
I'm just talking.
You've been around me too long. You've been around me too long. You've been around me too long. But at least I tell you, you don't tell me nothing.
I do tell you. I'll be like, and sometimes I can't tell if you mute, if you are doing something else. I don't want to be rude because I'm already talkative. Anyway, so greetings everyone. But a very serious topic. Because again, I never got with the whole 1 month out of a year type of thing. I've always celebrated all year round because again, I'm from different tribes. I'm not just from one particular tribe, as you can tell by my cheekbones. But I'm from multiple tribes. So it's not a situation where I only talked about being melanated one time a year, because it's deeper than that. It's bigger than that, because we have contributed to this society. We have built everything from the ground up. You know what I mean? Before so-called some of us were captured. Some of my ancestors were captured and brought over here, and some of my other ancestors were already over here. So you know what I mean? So, and I have ancestors in Asia, truth be told, right? So I'm all over the planet. So I identify with more than just that 1 month out of a year, because I mean, we have done so much and we're continuously doing a lot to for our culture. You know what I mean? Not just hip hop, okay? Not just bouncing the ball. You know what I mean? But we have built a lot of things in science, right? Not just statues and not just bridges, but we have done that as well. Not just the stoplight, not just heart transplants, but we have done a lot throughout history. So why would we not highlight that, you know, all year round? Because like you said, because we've done so much, and it's like one time out of a year we go, okay, I'm black. You know what I mean? Or what James Brown say? What H. Brown kidnapped him and put him in the trunk of a car and said, "Fool, you get out here and sing this song. I'm black and I'm proud." Well, we ain't gonna talk about that. That's part of a little history that maybe some of y'all don't know. But you know, it's more than just that. We have to really talk about it all year round. We have to highlight it every day. You know, every day I always have a fun fact that I used to tell my children when they were young. I'd be like, you know, guess what happened in history today, you know, and it'll be on every day of the year. And every day of the year, I could find something that we have done extraordinary. Okay. The fact that, and not just the people that many people don't talk about, but people in our family. We have to talk about our elders in our family and what they did within our family roots, because I'm sure you will find out what grandma, what your mother did, what your father did, what your cousin did, what you did, and talk about it. You know, we've all done some really good things, if not just in society as a whole, but within our families. Let's talk about that. Let's highlight that. Let's talk about how you know, you had your father to stay in your life all year, you know, all year round. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how my mother was a school teacher and she retired, but she brought home a lot of her students. You know, she's definitely a pillar in St. Louis. She's definitely a person that really cared about children. She didn't just, and then she would take tissue and give their mothers tissue. She's bought parents grocery before. You understand what I'm saying? She's giving children money. I mean, these are people that we don't talk about in our so-called history month, but how about this all year round? How about celebrations for people like her that exists on this planet that she's transcended, back in 2017. However, she still should be looked at, and I celebrate my mother every day. I celebrate folks like my father, how he would go and, he would police the neighborhoods. He would watch to make sure people's cars didn't get broken into, and how, just a lot of good things that he did amongst my neighborhood that I grew up in. It's not just about Brother Malcolm X. And, hey, I'm for Brother Malcolm X because he was a Taurus, right? But it's other people that's within our own society, our parents, our children. Let's talk about them and let's highlight them and write this down. That's why family trees are so important, to find your family tree. And when I started doing the origin of my biological family tree, I started to find a lot about history, historical values. One of my grandfathers had a Purple Heart. You know what I mean? He fought in the Korean War. My father, my biological father, was one of the youngest in history, one of the youngest people to own their own, a black man or black Indian. He was an Indian, but owned his own ice cream parlor. We don't talk about that. He owned like a few. His stepfather owned a grocery store in St. Louis, Missouri. We don't talk about things like that we've done in a community. So I got Black History. I got so-called Black History Month all throughout my bloodlines, and I'm sure everybody on here does. But we don't talk about that enough. But I yield.
Do you think that, boss lady, after I ask this question and you can go up next, do you think it's an injustice that they celebrate Martin Luther King, knowing that the reason why he died was because he changed his mind? The reason why he died is because when he realized he made a mistake, and that last interview that he did, let me get that last interview. But in between time, boss lady Mathis, the floor is yours, sweetie.
Hello, can you hear me, ladies?
Yes, baby.
Oh, okay, good. I just took a bite of my sandwich, but I think it's important for us to teach our Black history, but it's not just Black history, it's our history. History of our people, because we're not just Black. We are multicultural Americans because we was born in America and we're mixed with whatever they didn't put us in. We're not just Black, whatever that is. Black is a color. It's not a nationality. And I think it's sad that they call it Black history because we're not Black, and Black is not a race, and we're not, we shouldn't have to be associated with Black to be appreciated. But I just wanted to chime in real fast because I teach my grandsons. I have 9 grandsons, and so they're all going to grow up to be, men one day. So I have to instill in them pride in themselves, without being feeling like they have to be validated by society. I teach them pride in themselves, that they're whatever their skill is, whatever they like to do, whatever they do best, I praise them in that and let them know that they are somebody, and teach pride in them in doing what they know how to do. As a kid, it starts at home. I started home with mine, and All my kids graduated from school, went to college and all that and everything. So, I think I got a pretty good eye on teaching the kids. And I never, as a kid, I never liked Black History Week. We had it only 1 week when I was in school.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it because they always talked about Harriet Tubman and, all these people from so long ago that I couldn't relate as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, I started understanding about Harriet Tubman and stuff. But when I was in elementary school, I didn't understand what that was all about. And that's what they taught us. And they didn't teach us up to date stuff that was going on. They taught us way back what they wanted us to know. And I thought that was odd that they taught us all that old stuff in school. But I'm gonna go ahead and
You
let
stay.
you.
You stay
Yeah, I'm
right
gonna stay.
here. Okay.
stay.
Now I want to get into Dr. Martin Luther King. This is the speech that nobody talks about. And then we're going to get into Bill Cosby. Well, let's check out Martin Luther King. This is a far-fetched from I Had a Dream. And this is what the Caucasian people, this is what they chime off of. Not the money that y'all gave him the day, and y'all always talk about Martin Luther King when y'all forgot y'all the ones took him out. But anyway, let's just hear of this speech that nobody talks about.
Roll 20, sound 36.
Dr. King,
This is what got him.
this church is as good a place as any to go back over your commitment to the civil rights movement. When you went out from here into university and then you went to Montgomery, Alabama and started the bus boycotts there, what was the philosophy of the civil rights movement as you saw it then, more than 10 years ago?
Well, I would say then the philosophy was that we must go all out to use legal and nonviolent methods to gain full citizenship rights for the Negro people of our country. Of course, that particular struggle and that philosophy centered on breaking down all of the barriers of legal segregation. So I would say that in that period,
I like to say to my co-host, at any point in time that he say something and at that moment you need for me to stop the video, it's okay. Just go, I have something to say. It's okay, because it's okay. We are doing what you call commentary. So if y'all want to hear it out and then speak, or something that you want to speak in between time, it's okay. This is what the panel is for. We're doing commentary because we're going to get to the bottom of this today. We're going to get to the bottom of this today.
the basic thrust for the gaining of citizenship rights for Negroes was to end the humiliation surrounding the whole system of legal segregation.
Dr. King, was there something peculiar?
Look at his
The
face.
place
He
where you
knows he's
started
scared.
and the kind of people you attracted. I mean by that, there was a
He is
strong
scared.
attachment on the part of your parishioners in Montgomery to the church. They were older people, weren't they?
Yes, I would say by and large they were older people who participated in the boycott because they were the ones using the bus more than anybody else. And Montgomery was a community predominantly church-centered, so that it was very easy to get to the vast majority of Negroes because they were in some way connected with a church in the community.
Sir, in addition to your commitment to the idea of nonviolence, wasn't it also the only thing you could do, the white community having the monopoly on violence, that if you had tried violence, they would have met it with violence? It was the only device open to you, wasn't it?
Well, I'll put it another way.
Don't put no words in his mouth.
Morally, I was led to nonviolence because I felt that it was the best moral way to deal with the problem. We were seeking to establish a just society. And it was my feeling then, and it is my feeling
It
now,
was,
that
he was,
violence is certainly much more socially destructive, and it creates many more social problems than it solves. So I was led to nonviolence for deep moral reasons. Now, there is no doubt about the fact that in our struggle in Montgomery and all over the United States for that matter, nonviolence is also practically sound. It would just be impractical for the Negro to turn to violence. He has neither the instruments nor the techniques of violence. We are about 10 or 11% of the total population of the nation, and I would say we're about 1/10 of the firepower. So it would just be totally impractical and unwise and unrealistic for the Negro to think of violence. Well, I saw this in the beginning in Montgomery, but this wasn't the basic reason that I turned to nonviolence and that I believed in it as a philosophy. I turned to it because I felt that it was the morally excellent way to deal with the problem of racial injustice in our country.
Is there something about nonviolence that made it, and I use that in the past tense, that made it more useful among Southern Negroes than the ghetto Negroes of the North?
I wouldn't say there's anything that makes
he
it
said,
more
hold up, he
useful
said
to
ghetto Negro.
Southern Negroes. I think it is true
Ghetto.
that we've had
Oh,
more
shit.
nonviolent movements in the South because the problem for many years was more crystallized and, in a sense, more visible in the South. We didn't have many civil rights activities on a massive scale in the North until 3 or 4 years ago. So I would say that we just haven't had a chance to experiment on a broad scale with nonviolence in the Northern Ghetto. I have the feeling that nonviolence is as applicable and workable in the Northern Ghetto as it is in the South. There's a larger job.
Do y'all see the separation done? Are we still separated today? Are we still separated today? Off of that statement right there. You notice he said the Southern and then the ghetto North, like we all ain't black. Do you see that Willie Lynch is still in there? Sound, I see you itching. Go ahead and scratch. Dr. Rivera.
Well, look, I'm not mad at King for saying that because some Negroes.
It was the man. It wasn't King.
I know, but what I'm getting ready to say is there is certain separations nowadays because some Negroes I don't want to be around.
No, but that's not where he was putting it.
I know he was being disrespectful. He was doing the whole Willie Lynchism thing. Right. I know, but I just had to throw that out there before I say what I gotta say. But what I'm saying is that you go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that you forgot that before we got to the North, we migrated from the South. Most of our grandparents great, so how all of a sudden it ain't like New York always like we like native. No, we migrated. We ran away to the North. So how is it like now we get over here? Say, were you trying to call my grandpa ghetto? Because our grandparents is from the South. Well, go ahead, the boss lady could speak after that.
But of course, they're gonna do the whole separation Willie Lynchism thing. But again, but we do it to ourselves as well because you hear a lot of us say, and it's not necessarily. In a lot of cases, I've found, let's speak on today's terms.
No, we want to keep it back then. We ain't get to today yet. We're going to get to today. We staying back there for now.
Right, but what I'm saying, but it applies to now because of the way that back then, a lot of black folks felt like, okay, we're going to leave the South because there's no job opportunities here. The man is on our necks a little bit more, and they're lynching. Okay. Even when my father, my father who raised me was from Mississippi, and the Ku Klux Klan jumped on my grandfather. That's a whole nother story, right? So my father, him and his oldest brother handled a situation, and they had to run him to St. Louis, right? So they had to move him from the South by sundown type of thing, right? So what happens is a lot of our ancestors leave the South to move to the North,
right?
So-called North Star, to get to the promised land, which they feel like is going to be filled with abundance, nuts and honey, and all these job opportunities, just to find out they're still going to be discriminated against. They can still be lynched. They can still be thrown in jails. They can still experience some of the same harder times than they experience from the South. So that mechanism, and they always stereotyped us. They always stereotype the country folks as ghetto and impoverished and
I like
not dignity. Huh?
I love that King curved them though. You know, he
right.
curved them.
Because King is a Southern black man, so of course he gonna.
Well, he's a black man, but he letting them know we all black. Okay, right. Boss lady.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that comment that he tried to throw in there?
He tried to throw it in there that the certain black people was, I think what he was trying to say is, by him being non-violent, that the ghetto, so-called ghetto black people wanted to be violent, and was that the right stand that he made by taking non-violent? Was that the right stand with the ghetto people that in the neighborhood? And he kept trying to specify, like certain people as the whole part of the South, and they're the reason why. It was just really classless. And the thing that he said, Dr. King said, why would we be non-violent when we don't have the gunpowder, we don't have the manpower and all that? But if you take that to right now, they got the gunpowder and the manpower. So what's going on now?
But even then, it's always been north, south. Now it's east, west. It's like, I'm like, but I like how, I always seen this as a whole. I've never seen this as separated. But it's bad enough they separated us by dumping us in different islands. Like Haitians think they're Haitians. Like Brazilians think they're Brazilians. Jamaicans think they're Jamaicans. Like Trinidadians think they're Trinidad. Like they all think that they're from that island. And then now you bring it to, now we got them all in one state. Now let's separate them too. Let's make the East think that they the East, and let's make the West think they the West, and the Southern state. But we all one. But until we never going to get that. We all one. And I'm tired of people going back to their history. Your history still lead back to one of them places that they call Africa. Remember, Africa is a white given name. All of that leads back to one of them places in Africa. But we're going to let him continue this. But I just thought that was I caught that one, and Dr. King caught that one too.
Up there, the frustrations at points are much deeper. The bitterness is deeper.
See?
And I think that's because in the South, we can see pockets of progress here and there. We've really made some strides that are very visible, and every Southern Negro knows that he can do things today that he couldn't do 4 or 5 years ago. Wherein in the North, the Negro sees only retrogress. And he doesn't find it as easy to get his vision centered on his target, the target of opposition, as he does in the South. Consequently, this is made for despair and at many points cynicism, a feeling that you can't win. And it simply means that we've got to develop in the North a massive job of organization and mobilizing forces and resources to deal with the problem in the urban ghettos of the North, just as we've done it in the South.
When the South particularly in Alabama, you had visible villains, Jim Clark, Bull Connor, cattle prods, police dogs. But in the North, you don't have those visible villains. Isn't it hard to get your people
You got something to
aroused
say?
and directed at something that isn't
I got
visible?
you, sis.
Well, that's exactly right. And this is what I was saying.
Okay, go ahead, sis.
One thing also, he's also trying to put Dr. King on blast, also to basically call him bougie and tell him that he doesn't really understand the difference between the so-called lumper proletarian, but that's a whole nother language, right? Is a comparison to him and his bourgeoisie class. You know what I mean? So he's trying to tell Dr. King in so many ways, hey, you don't really understand what's going on your dang self because you're privileged more so than these Negroes, lumper proletarian class that are actually going through it. And he's trying to tell them that he got benefits.
When Dr. King ain't falling for it, he's letting it know we suffering in both places. What you got to say, First Lady? Because he hitting her. And Dr. King ain't falling for it.
Of course. But that's what he's trying to say, right?
Go ahead, Boss Lady.
Oh no, I'm right. No, I'm not even got nothing to say to that one. I'm still marinating.
Okay, I'm gonna let it finish playing, okay?
When I said it's harder to see a target. In the South, in the nonviolent movement, we were aided always, on the whole, by the brutality of our opponent. It isn't the same way in the North. The other thing is that you don't have legal segregation in the North as you do in the South. So it is much more difficult to get people to see exactly what you're doing, but it isn't an impossible job. It's a hard, it's a tedious job at times to get people to be aroused from their apathetic slumbers, but I still feel that Negroes in the North can be motivated just as they were motivated in the South. And I think as time goes on with the growing economic deprivation in the Negro community, it will even be easier because people will come to see that not only is something wrong in general, but something is wrong in particular in their own economic and housing situations.
Well, what is it? I mean, how do you find it? It's very subtle in the North, is it not?
It's subtle, but it's becoming much more visible. Anybody can see that the schools are more segregated in the North today than they were in 1954 when the Supreme Court rendered its decision declaring segregation unconstitutional. Anybody can look around the ghetto and see that ghetto schools are predominantly segregated and devoid of quality. Anyone who moves through a major ghetto of our country will see the housing conditions. People don't have to be reminded that they are forced to live in slums in many instances, and they're often rat-infested, vermin-filled slums. And it isn't too hard to see the exploitation that the Negro confronts in the ghetto, where he is forced to pay more for less and constantly trying to make ends meet, but because of either no job as a result of unemployment or a job that is so economically unprofitable that the person can't make ends meet. And I think they see all of these things, and more they're coming to see them, because before the people of the North were looking to the South and they supported the struggles of the South. Now they're coming to see that their problems are very real and they've got organized to grapple with them.
Was there something hypocritical about the fact that the South existed and the North could point the finger? And then when the Civil Rights Acts were passed in the early 60s, you couldn't point the finger anymore?
Well, there was no doubt about the hypocrisy of large segments of the nation on the whole question of racial equality. I think the best example is that many of the senators from the North and the West, and congressmen generally, who voted for civil rights legislation in '64 and even '65 with the Voting Rights Bill, refused last year to vote for civil rights legislation because it dealt with an issue applicable to the North, the whole housing question. And this, it seems to me, was the greatest expression of the hypocrisy of
That's great,
many of
Kiana.
our citizens and many of the senators and congressmen of the North.
Isn't that part of the dilemma now? That people knew that Negroes were being denied what was guaranteed to them by the Constitution, by the fact that they were citizens of this country. Then when they were given those rights, do you feel the white community said, well, we've given them all that we have, now it's up to them?
Well, I think the dilemma is much deeper, and I think one during this period of transition has to be very honest with America. And honesty impels me to admit that America has broad racist elements still alive. Racism is still existing in American society in many areas of the society, North and South. And the other thing is that there has never been a single, solid, determined commitment of large segments of white America on the whole question of racial equality. I think we have to see that vacillation has always existed, ambivalence has always existed, and this to me is the so-called white backlash. It's merely a new name for an old phenomenon. I see the white backlash as a continuation of the same ambivalence and vacillation of white America on the whole question of racial justice that has existed since the founding of our nation. I think the other thing that we must see at this time is that many of the people who supported us in Selma, in Birmingham, were really outraged about the extremist behavior toward Negroes. But they were not at that moment, and they are not now, committed to genuine equality for Negroes. It's much easier to integrate a lunch counter than it is to guarantee an annual income, for instance, to get rid of poverty for Negroes and all poor people. It's much easier to integrate a bus than it is to make genuine integration a reality and quality education a reality in our schools. It's much easier to integrate even a public park than it is to get rid of slums. And I think we are in a new era, a new phase of the struggle, where we have moved from a struggle for decency, which characterized our struggle for 10 or 12 years, to a struggle for genuine equality. And this is where we're getting the resistance, because there was never any intention to go this far. People were reacting to Bull Connor and to Jim Clark rather than acting in good faith for the realization of genuine equality.
Do you think white people in this country, and I'm talking about non-segregationists, people devoid or thinking they're devoid of racism, do you have any idea of what they want the Negro to be in America?
Well, it depends on the level that we are talking here, because I think you have to make a distinction between the people who are genuinely and absolutely committed in the white community on the question of racial equality. And I must confess that I think they're a very small minority. I think the vast majority of white Americans will go but so far. It's a kind of installment plan for equality, and they are always looking for an excuse to go but so far.
Why are they looking for the excuse? What is it about the Negro? I mean, every other group that came as an immigrant somehow, not easily, but somehow got around it. Is it just the fact that Negroes
You hear that shit?
That's a part of it.
You hear that shit?
That grows out of something else.
You hear that crap?
You can't thingify anything without depersonalizing that something. If you use something as a means to an end, at that moment you make it a thing and you depersonalize it. The fact is that the Negro was a slave in this country for 244 years. That was a willful thing that was done. The Negro was brought here, chained, treated in a very human fashion. And this led to the thingification of the Negro. So he was not looked upon as a person. He was not looked upon as a human being with the same status and worth as other human beings. And the other thing is that human beings cannot continue to do wrong without eventually rationalizing that wrong. So slavery was justified morally, biologically, theoretically, scientifically, everything else. And it seems to me that white America must see that no other ethnic group has been a slave on American soil. That is one thing that other immigrant groups haven't had to face. The other thing is that the color became a stigma. American society made the Negro's color a stigma, and that can never be overlooked. So I think these things are absolutely necessary. The other thing is that America freed the slaves in 1863 through the Emancipation Proclamation of Abraham Lincoln, but gave the slaves no land or nothing in reality, as a matter of fact, to get started on. At the same time, America was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that there was a willingness to give the white peasants from Europe an economic base. And yet it refused to give its black peasants from Africa, who came here involuntarily in chains and had worked free for 244 years, any kind of economic base. And so emancipation for the Negro was really freedom to hunger. It was freedom to the winds and rains of heaven. It was freedom without food to eat or land to cultivate, and therefore it was freedom and famine at the same time. And when white Americans tell the Negro to lift himself by his own bootstraps, they don't look over the legacy of slavery and segregation. I believe we ought to do all we can and seek to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps, but it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Many Negroes, thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of all of these years of oppression and as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading.
Apart from wanting to live better, which all of us want to do, to raise one's children in a better way, to be better, does the Negro in America know what he wants to be?
I'm convinced that almost every Negro in this country, other than those who have been so scarred by the system that they've become pathological in the process, and we all have to battle with pathology, and nobody really knows what it means to be a Negro unless one can really experience it. And I know we all have to battle with this constant drain of a feeling of nobodiness. But in spite of this, I think the vast majority of Negroes in this country know that they want to be people, they want to be men, they want equality, period. It just boils down to that. And we haven't been able to be people. We haven't been men because
That's right.
all of the conditions that we've lived with and the syndrome of deprivation surrounding conditions, whether it's in housing, in the economic area, or in schools, or in the vicious credit practices that we face in the ghetto, and all of the problems of closed doors and constant defeats. But in spite of all this, I think we all know, basically, that we want to be men. We want to be persons judged not on the basis of the color of our skin, but on the basis of the content of our character.
But you know that many young Negroes don't want anything that smacks of the American white middle class. But do they want something that smacks of whatever is the black middle class, or do they just not want bourgeois values, which after all are the basis of this democracy?
Well, I think we have to see what they are saying. I would be the first to agree that integration does not mean giving up everything that has an Afro-American taint, so to speak, a background. I think there are certain unique things within any culture and certain cultural patterns that when you get to the process of amalgamation can really lift the whole culture. It seems to me that integration at its best is the opportunity to participate in the beauty of diversity. I think the other thing that we've got to see is that these young people are saying that there must be a revolution of values in our country. As Jimmy Baldwin said on one occasion, what advantage is there in being integrated into a burning house? And I feel that there is a need for a revolution of values in America, because some of the values that presently exist are certainly out of line with the values and the idealistic structure that brought our nation into being. Unfortunately, we haven't been true to these ideals, and many of the values of so-called white middle-class society are values that need to be reviewed and re-evaluated, and in a real sense, they need to be changed. So I think the young people in the Negro community who are raising these questions are raising some very profound questions about our total society. In other words, they are saying that there must be a restructuring of the architecture of our society where values are concerned. And with this, I would agree with. So in the quest for integration, I think we can offer our whole nation something, because there are three evils in our nation. It's not only racism, but economic exploitation of poverty would be one, and then militarism. And I think in a sense, and in a very real sense, these three are tied inextricably together, and we aren't going to get rid of one without getting rid of the other.
When you stood on the Lincoln Memorial that day in August '63, and you said, "I had a dream," did that dream envision that you could see a war in Asia preventing the federal government doing for the Negroes, preventing the society doing for the Negroes that which you think had to be done?
No, I didn't envision that then. I must confess that that period was a great period of hope for me. And I'm sure for many others all across the nation, many of the Negroes who had about lost hope, saw a solid decade of progress in the South. And in 1954, which was, 64, 1963, 9 years after the Supreme Court's decision to be in the March on Washington, meant a great deal. It was a high moment, a great watershed. But I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare.
A nightmare.
Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go, and that we are involved in a war on Asian soil, which, if not checked and stopped, can poison the very soul of our nation.
Dr. King, even if there had not been a war in Asia, would you still not have had this nightmare insofar as the Negro movement for equality then touched on two things that the white community holds sacred: their children and their property?
Wow.
Oh, I have no doubt that we would have encountered great difficulties, great problems of resistance if the war had not been in existence. So that I'm not going to say that all of our problems would be solved if the war in Vietnam is ended. But I do say that the war makes it infinitely more difficult to deal with these problems. When a nation becomes obsessed with the guns of war, it loses its social perspective, and programs of social uplift suffer. This is just a fact of history, so that we do face many more difficulties as a result of the war. It's much more difficult to really arouse a conscience during time of war. I noticed the other day, some weeks ago, a Negro was shot down in Chicago, and it was a clear case of police brutality.
It's
That was on page 30 of the paper, but
police brutality, and we in 2021 talking about the same thing.
on page 1 at the top was 780 Viet Cong killed. That is something about a war like this that makes people insensitive. It dulls the conscience. It strengthens the forces of reaction, and it brings into being bitterness and hatred and violence. And it strengthened the military-industrial complex of our country, and it's made our job much more difficult, because I think we can go along with some programs, if we didn't have this war on our hands, that would cause people to adjust to new developments, just as they did in the South. They said they'd never ride the bus with us. Blood would flow in the streets. They wouldn't go to school and all of these things. But when people came to see that they had to do it because the law insisted, they finally adjusted. And I think white people all over this country will adjust once the nation makes it clear that in schools and housing, we've got to learn to live together as brothers. I think the biggest problem now is that we got our gains over the last 12 years at bargain rates, so to speak. Didn't cost the nation anything. In fact, it helped the economic side of the nation to integrate lunch counters and public accommodations. It didn't cost the nation anything to get the right to vote established. And now we are confronting issues that cannot be solved without costing the nation billions of dollars. Now, I think this is where we're getting our greatest resistance. They may put it on many other things, but we can't get rid of slums and poverty without it costing the nation something.
Exactly. See, this is why I didn't understand. As a little girl, they had a Woolworth. And once I found out they didn't want me to eat a Woolworth, I never went back into there. And not to mind you, this is what I've heard. I was, by the time I was born, we was able to eat a Woolworth. But once I found, see, when it comes down to the this is what we do till today. We fight to give them our money. That's going to always be the problem, and that's going to always be our downfall. We fight to give them our money. Like we fought to give Woolworth our money. Like we fought, like he said, a lot of things that we fought for, it was easy to give to us. It was easy, and it didn't cost them nothing. That's like we fight to be in their movies. We fight to wear their name brand clothes. These are all the things that we fight for, to give them our money. But when it comes down to them giving back to us, we ain't never going to get it. Unfortunately, they still feel the same way. Now, I would love to hear that one, Dr. Quilly always was allowed to teach nonviolence, which I understand speaking to such a young man. Now, again, we're speaking upon Black history. Do anybody got something to say about that before I go to Bill Cosby?
Okay, so here's the thing. Dr. King has started to become highly influenced. See, he's talking a different language. First, because of the fact that you had Malcolm X back then as well, and Malcolm X was had just left the Nation of Islam, or was put out, so to speak. And so he started getting ready to link with Brother Malcolm, okay? And then you had that whole issue of him seeing things. The Korean War was actually, when he made that statement about the Korean War, that's what actually made them go, oh, we got to kill this, such and such and such, because he became more of a threat, because he said no more. The last speech that Dr. King did, he was like, he not going to tolerate no more Mr. Nice Guy. He was not taking no more butt whoopings, okay? That's what he said. And then so he started beginning to build with, you had the founding followers of SNCC movement, okay, which was also working with Dr. King's coalition, okay? And so a lot of those members, which I know personally, Mukasa Ricks which was called Willie Ricks back then. Okay, he coined the phrase. Well, some people he says he coined the phrase of Black Power, right? And they also have Kwame Ture, who says he coined the phrase. So both rolled together. So whatever. So long story short, he had those influences. Was also Kathleen Cleaver, who was also a Black Panther. She was one of the first females in the Black Panther Party in the second development, because you had the U.S. slaves who used to be Panthers, right? But Huey P. Newton set that bus down, right? Yeah. So when you have that energy, so he had all of these influences around him, so he began to also see for himself how detrimental the Korean War was. Then on top of which, you had all of that whole energy of the youth telling Dr. King, like, we ain't having it no more, King. You can take them butt whoopings, we not. You know what I mean? And then to the point where I remember one of the marches where Stokely Carmichael, which later became Kwame Ture, got his tail kicked in, and he was like, no, I'm not doing it no more, Dr. King. Hell no. And so they kind of fell out with him, so to speak. And then that's when they really started building more with SNCC. And later, prior to that, after that, they became Panthers, right? So that's, and then what? Okay, now if y'all recall, if y'all go back to the speech where Malcolm did, where he basically talked about the Big Six. The Big Six included Dr. King and some other leaders that was like, Boule, so leaders. Okay, so he talked about that. See, they were supposed to go to this hotel. They went to this hotel with President Kennedy at the time, and he offered King. This is why the March on Washington started. He offered King $1 million to calm down these so-called Negroes. So the $1 million was supposed to be split between 6 of them. Okay. Right. So Dr. King, the point I'm trying to make is Kennedy felt some kind of way slighted that Dr. King will basically turn his back on him, so to speak, and go more with the people, because Kennedy felt like, a Negro, I paid you to keep them Negroes away. I paid you. Okay. So that's why a lot of our Black people vote Republican, because the Republican, you know what I'm saying? Because the Democrat was more against us than the Republican. So that's why you will hear a lot of Negroes. Oh, sorry, excuse me, Negro. Yeah, Negro. I'm gonna say Negroes that will vote for Republican as opposed to Democratic, because of the way things are now. And look at even going on down to Biden, and how Biden is basically, all these Black people voted for him, but what is he doing for Blacks? But whatever. I'm done. I ain't got nothing to say. I'm gonna shut up.
Okay, boss lady.
Okay. As far as him saying that in the speech, he said that Black people needed to follow suit. Okay, he said, he was talking about, I was reading between the lines, and from what I was gathering, he was saying that, okay, even though that he was trying to go with the non-violent, that the white people were basically, reading between the lines, basically not trying to let them be non-violent, and they was pushing them to the limit. And that he had to reform. They had to reform. That's what he was saying. They had to reform how they were going about the situation. And then, but he didn't want to say that's when the violence came in. But that's when the violence came in, when they had to regroup on how the people was coming at the whole group, because they looked at them as a group, and they felt like they had to take him and his group down, which he was really speaking for a whole nation, is what he was saying. It's about a nation. It's not just a singular group.
Well,
he's working for. Go ahead.
When we realize that we are a nation, but I believe that when Dr. King realized he has been used, he woke up out that dream and realized, like he said, it was a nightmare. When he realized that I led my people into a burning house. See, in this video, whoever seen it didn't see it. This is the Martin Luther King Day. This is what we don't share with our kids. That's the point of this video. This is the video that they don't share with the public. This is the video that we have to go and find. So a lot of us seen it, but a lot of them don't. And we sit around and we let the Caucasian people, flirt with the idea of be like Martin King. And they leave that out. And he's still being used. What he's saying is still being used against him. But he woke up out that night, man. He was like, I thought segregation was, we need to sit in the front of the bus. But then he realized, hold up, these things don't mean nothing. That's not putting nothing in our economy, because we still giving them our money. He's like, well, hold up. So every time, we rebel, they're going to throw that speech in our face. They're going to throw that nonviolence in our face. So he is one of the most used men that's out there. And they try to paint him against Martin, against Malcolm. But him and Malcolm was cool. They was like, you do your thing, I do my thing. But then he realized what Malcolm was saying was true. He woke up, and then that was just to add on. Oh, I know you got a thing. Well, hopefully you'll come back. But I know you got something to take care of. You said that already. Yeah, so I want to get to, I found the shortest version, but this is something else that we don't teach our kids. So, and we're not teaching our kids these things. What is the purpose of Black History Month? Because we already know. We don't need to keep being reminded we are the greatest at what we do. We know this already. We know this already. We don't got to keep being reminded who's the great gymnast, who's the greatest basketball player, we was inventing stuff back in Africa. How do you think we lived in Africa not knowing nothing? How do you think they had water and earth? You think we didn't know nothing? We had a whole continent to run. While y'all was in little Europe and these little countries in Europe, we had a big old continent. How do you think, what did you think we did? Nothing? We didn't have no brains? Yeah, because you beat it out of us, you didn't think that it was going to come back? But before I get to the next video, you have anything else you'd like to say about that, boss lady?
No, baby, I'm just enjoying how you putting it down. You do your thing.
Oh, thank you. Because this is basically what my channel is really about. So please, hopefully, when we have these conversations, I appreciate you guys. Let's talk about some real stuff. So now I found the short version, but if this version don't say what I wanted to say, we might have to watch the long version. But this is the Bill Cosby that nobody talks about. This is the Bill Cosby nobody talks about. Black history lost, stolen, and strayed. And I got it on mute.
History. Now, what do you stand in? In your shoes. Now, there's just you and your shoes, isn't there? Nope. See, there's a black man standing in your Oxfords with you. Sharing your soul and your heel is a man, his name is Jan Ernst Metzelliger. And in 1863, this is a drawing by the kids, Metzelliger.
All right, hold on, guys, because I got to find a better version. Can y'all just give me a second? Can y'all give me a second to find a better version? Oh, yeah, I got you. Hey, sissy, I got you. I do got brain cells, you guys, sometimes. I use them sometimes. But I want to find a better version. Whoever copied this, they didn't copy it so well. Hello. Yeah, what's up? I'm live. I'm live. Hold on.
Great, very good. All right, we'll go to lunch now, and this afternoon we'll continue with our...
But you see, there is a black man. No, I could never fit in that. Never get in that at all. This is more like it. Now, what's the whitest thing you know? Whiter than the driven snow, whiter than the whites of your eyes? Sugar. Non-integrated, non-black, sweet sugar. But you see, there is a black man in your sugar. His name is Norbert Rillier. Norbert Rillier in 1846 invented a vacuum pan, revolutionized the sugar refining industry. Now, you have to dig to find that fact. I mean, it's not much history, but it's still history. Now, what do you stand in? In your shoes. Now, there's just you and your shoes, isn't there? Nope. See, there's a black man standing in your Oxfords with you. Sharing your soul and your heel is a man, his name is Jan Ernst Metzelger. And in 1863, this is a drawing by the kids, Metzelger invented the machine that made mass-produced shoes possible. Now, you have to dig around for that fact, too. And again, it's not much history, but it's history. Am I coming in clear to California? I mean, is this TV signal driving through a pass in the Sierra Nevada mountains and slipping into San Francisco? Okay, well, I want to thank you, Jim Beckworth. Jim Beckworth out of St. Louis, hunter, trapper, and honorary chief of the Crow tribe of Indians. We had trouble finding you, Jim. Though you helped open the West, you didn't make the books. Chicago, right here, where the Wrigley building is. Young fellow.
You might have to refresh your page.
They're not playing nice here. They're not playing nice at all. They're being mean. Something stopped it. Well, we're going to try another one. But this one, I'm going to have to probably skim through it because this is the long one. But they sure enough cut that one off. They must don't want us to know. Because, you know, for us to really get to know our history, we got to dig. We got to dig. And these are things that we didn't know. So far, we did the ice cube and we did the shoe. We're going to try this again.
Never finish. Never get an animal. It's more like it's called this shit can't move or stuck in the enemy or warriors. They can start and just like that. You take the worst of that. That's the worst of that. That's what you don't call it. Texas. Come to you, Texas. Right down and Chisholm Drive.
It sounds bad, Suge.
That sound is coming from them. So please bear with me. Does it sound a little bit better?
You can't really understand what he's saying. Now you can't hear him at all.
That's because I paused it. I paused it. We may got to get back to the first bad one. The first bad one. Because a lot of people copied this. So that's why after you keep copying it, that's what happens. So I get back to the first bad one. But at least it was doable. But that sound was coming from all the different people that copied it. So we're going to continue here. Just bear with it, my people. Please try. I'm listening to it the same way you guys are listening to it, but I'm trying to seek out the information. It's just that this is not the original. So a lot of people copied it. Some people probably copied it off their own devices instead of they didn't know how to copy it. But we're going to try to get through this together. A copy from a copy from a copy of a copy of a copy. See, being that Bill Cosby, they want him to be known as a, well, we're gonna do this one for now. we're gonna do this one for now. Then I'm gonna try to find another one. But we're gonna do this for now. A lot of people don't remember this Bill Cosby, but he was about that life. But we're gonna show this little interview, and then we're gonna try to get a good version of that. But this is the Bill Cosby they don't want you to know. They want you to think of him as a pet, not a pedophile, but what you call it, a rapist or whatever. But this is him in an interview talking about racism. They want to erase all of this man's history. They want to erase it. Remember, it might not be clear, but these are old videos, guys.
Stuart Thomas in 1968 before the presidential election. Cosby's comments on the election and presidential politics still hold true today.
Well, it's just sad, that's all. Because I don't believe any of them. I think they're all lying to everybody. I think Wallace is lying to the white bigots. And they're out there talking about George is going to do it. Because George ain't going to do it. You know. Now, who was that cat today? I read in the paper. It was the president of the NAACP up in Connecticut, shaking hands with George. Wow. Did you see the picture? Picture cat. I forgot his name, man. Shaking hands with George. And I said, well, you know, in Connecticut. Now, what is this all about? When George is talking about he's going to run over us with his car, which is going to be funny to see that, you know.
Definitely.
Because the cat's talking about he's going to be president of the United States of America. And this is the man that the bigots are voting for, see. Now, this shows you how much class bigots have. They're going to vote for a cat who's, George is going to just keep them niggas in their place. How? George is going to run over them with his car, man. And I believe he's going to.
Sound like Trump.
And he
Sound
will
like
run
Trump,
over
huh?
if they give any trouble. Nixon, I think, is a pathological liar. Man's got to say some lie about something somewhere.
12 years. All I've read about are white people, you know. And now we're going to have this course, and this course is 20 weeks long. And you said all you can give us is 1 or 2 books by black authors because you don't think there are any other reputable black authors out there, you know. What is that to tell me? You know, it's the same thing all the other kids are going through in the schools. Because all they're being told is that, well, there's no one else out there that's really writing anything that's literature. They're writing a whole lot of garbage. And like I suggested to him, Elridge Cleaver, so nice. Well, he says that's not literature. He says it's just a whole lot of writing.
What about Man Child of the Promised Land? There are an awful lot of white people who would really like to know. Maybe not so, you know, so much in the sense that they demand black history themselves, because they can't really be interested in it. I don't look for a white person to be so interested in something that has to do with black people, because he's not educated that way. He's not brought up that way. He lives in his own community. He goes to his own school. He dates his own women, except when he wants to slip out and find something interesting. The same way the black man slips out to find something interesting. But then there's a heavy-handed all-white treatment that just isn't fair, you see. Now, when we talk about a book like Man-Child and the Promised Land, I mean, that was like my neighborhood. The same cats that he talked about, I had cats in my neighborhood the same way, with the gang fights and so forth and so on. Drugs, we never really came into contact with drugs the way Brownlee's book did, because most of the cats I hung out with, we were hitting the ball or chasing the ball or something like that. You know, I came into contact once with marijuana. It was a Thursday night dance. I think I was like 13 years old or something. Had on all of the hippest stuff, man. My pants way up, you know, the Daily News in my right pocket, had my Jeff on, and I was looking bad and smoking my father's Camel cigarettes, you know. And this cat came up to me and said, "Give me a light." And I noticed that the butt he was smoking was kind of short. And I offered him a cigarette. I said, "Don't you want to?" He said, "No, man, this is fine." you know, and I put my cigarette up to his, and he made that noise, you know, and I shut out of there so fast, man, you know. But the importance of Black history, I mean, you just can't measure it, man, because then, and I think this is why people don't want to serve it, and they don't want to put it out, because then most people will really realize that we have done something, you know, as a group. When they say we, I include all of us, man, because, you know, the cat's going to vote for Wallace. He's talking about keeping niggas in their places, see, or keeping the nigga in his place. He's not talking about everybody except Bill Cosby. No, he's jealous because Bill Cosby's got some bread too. He's jealous because Harry Belafonte's got 2 Cadillacs or whatever. And he just assumed that this whole country be all white, you see. Uh, I just feel that if we can get the history put in, that isn't the only thing, but that is a very important thing, man. And it's an example of the racism and bigotry that exists in this country, because look at how harmless it is, you see, to say that a certain person did something and they did this and so forth and so on, and make it a part of an exam, but they refuse to do it. Before, last year, I excused the teachers and the school system for it because, you know, you have to be prepared. And I said, okay, if you don't have it this year, all right, that's because you're not prepared, but you have the summer. You know, go to your library, go to the reserve book room, read, find out, you know, black heroes in World War II, black heroes World War I, so forth and so on. Men who have invented things. The real black man who was with Lewis and Clark. The cat who went to the North Pole, how much he did, so forth and so on. Let's get all this together, man.
All right, guys. I think I've got it. I think I've got it. I think I've got it. If not, we're going to have an open panel and just discuss what we think of this Black History Month, and does it serve us any purpose? Because they are not letting this video be shown because they don't want Bill Cosby to be known as a Black activist. They want him to be shamed for telling us to pull up our pants, to love our kids, be better parents, be better men, better women, watch our mouths. You know, they want him to be known for that. But this man been doing this a long time. And like he said, a lot of teachers is not prepared to teach our youth. Okay, we let you slide, but if you're going to be a teacher, teach. Do you agree with that, boss lady?
I do. I definitely agree with that, because nowadays these teachers, they think that they can come in there and tell them to open a book and read this and read that. They're not teaching them like they used to teach when I was going to school. When I was going to school, you had to do essays and you had to know all about the person. You had to investigate and stuff. They need to get back to that type of teaching.
Yeah, but it was still the same people. It was still this. That's what we Bill Cosby would, if we could get this video to play. We did much more than Frederick Douglass, and much more than Martin Luther King, much more than Malcolm. There was just our mouthpiece, or Harriet Tubman. And then you can't teach us our history unless you go back before slavery. But we're gonna hopefully cross your fingers. Let's get this, see what happens with this video. Let's see. What I do?
Push play.
Past the Sierra Nevada mountains and slipping into San Francisco. Okay, well, I want to thank you, Jim Beckworth. Jim Beckworth, out of St. Louis, hunter, trapper, and honorary chief of the Crow tribe of Indians. We had trouble finding you, Jim. Though you helped open the West, you didn't make the books. Chicago, right here, where the Wrigley building is. A young fellow by the name of Jean-Baptiste de Sable. Jean Baptiste, he founded Chicago, when he traded with the Indians. And of course, there it is right there, that particular time. It was called Chicago, or Stinking Onion, by the Indians. And de Sable, he didn't even change the name at all. Now you take the Lewis and Clark expedition here, right in there. You'll find a black man named York helping to open the West. Those men are trying to wash the black out of York. That's what you might call historically significant, because a lot of people think we ought to wash white, but we ain't gonna, you see. Texas. Coming to you, Texas, right down the Chisholm Trail, right here. Right down there with 5,000 black cowboys who never made it to the Hollywood West. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
In the same group, there was one black outlaw.
His
name was Deadwood Dick, who claimed his soul brothers were Bat Masterson, Billy the Kid, and Jesse James. Deadwood Dick used to ride into the saloon, order 2 drinks, one for himself and one for his horse. And here's his horse, drinking a shot of red eye with a straw. And how about the 186,000 blacks who fought on the Union side during the Civil War? 38,000 died. How about Teddy Roosevelt's charge up San Juan Hill? It wasn't just the Rough Riders who made it. 4 black regiments went right up with Teddy. They didn't get lost going up the hill. They got lost in the history books. How about the North Pole? Snow White? Well, the first man there was black, Matthew Henson. He spoke Eskimo, and he was Admiral Perry's navigator, and although he made it first to the pole, it never quite made it to the history books.
Damn.
And how about your heart? Can we get there? All right.
Yeah, I know that.
Daniel Hale Williams first performed open heart surgery successfully. But this list could go on forever. Blacks who made it, blacks who made history, but who didn't get into the history text at all. And the strange thing is how little there is about us in the textbooks.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon once said history is a fable agreed upon, and the fable agreed upon up to now is that American history is white on white. But sometimes we did get into the history books. All wrong. Now you take this one. The Growth of the American Republic, 1942 edition. Samuel Eliot Morrison, Henry Steele Commager. Quote, as for. This has to do with slavery. As for Sambo, Professor Morrison. Sambo, Professor Commager. As for Sambo, whose wrongs moved the abolitionists to wrath and tears, there is some reason to believe that he suffered less than any other class in the South from its peculiar institution. Peculiar institution means slavery. Although brought to America by force, the incurably optimistic Negro soon became attached to the country and devoted to his white folks. Unquote. Those lines were written by 2 Pulitzer Prize-winning white Northern professors.
You can't teach the kids. You got to teach the classroom because it's
slavery. That's the place everybody likes to start Negro history.
Yep.
You have ignorant black men being brought over from Africa in chains. Terrible thing, slavery. But this way slavery is taught, it sort of takes the sting out of it. Because the way it's usually taught, people think that we Afro-Americans started with nothing but little grass skirts like the kids in the Tarzan movies. And though America gave us slavery, America kindly gave us religion and a lick or two of education. Mm-hmm. And when we get more jobs and more education, then up from slavery. But, we had something before we left Africa,
Thank
something
you.
more than rhythm. I mean, we had a high culture. Culture was so high that great artists in the world are still borrowing from it.
Yep.
Now, here's a sculpture by an unknown African artist. And here's what Paul Klee took from it.
Damn.
Now, here's a work by an unknown black African, and Pablo Picasso liked what he saw.
Damn.
Another African design, and Modigliani swiped it, or he was influenced by it, or whatever polite word you want to use.
Damn.
Another black African artist, and Picasso didn't change it very much.
Damn.
I mean, when you look at this copying, you got to give us a little more than rhythm. You got to give us style. Now, if you tell the history of slavery right, you got a big problem on your hands.
Yep.
The slave trader didn't take some savage out of Africa. He took a human being. He sold him like an animal and separated him from his family. America invented the cruelest slavery in the history of this. It broke up black families.
Ooh, before we get any further, do anybody got something to say? You have something to say, boss lady?
Man, I'm feeling bad for Bill Cosby now. I wish they would let him go. Just based on watching this speech right here. Let free Bill Cosby.
I've seen this before, but these are the things I'm always searching and researching. I tell you, I use my brain cells sometimes. People don't think I got something, but I got something. If anybody want to come up on the panel, they have a say so. But like they said, this is what I'm trying. This is the main purpose of what I'm trying to say.
I'm finna share this live right now.
We was people. You didn't steal slaves from Africa. You stole people from Africa. So what does this really mean? If we not look at all the stuff they plagiarized from us, and they got the Pulitzer. What he said, they got the Pulitzer award. Whatever the Pulitzer, I don't know what the Pulitzer means, but I know what he said. They got all the awards and accolades, and everybody want to go to Europe to study in London and all them places, but they stole it all this from Africa. But we're gonna get back into that.
After slavery was over, America kept breaking up the black man's family.
Yep.
And that's some awful history to teach. Now, if you want to look history right straight in the eye, you're going to get a black eye. Because it isn't important whether a few black heroes got lost or stolen or strayed in America's history textbooks. What's important is why they got left out. Now, this country has got a psychological history. There was a master race, there was a slave race. And though there isn't any political slavery anymore, those same old attitudes have hung around.
2021.
And the burning part of Burn, Baby Burn is right here in this classroom. We want to thank Mrs. Lovely Billups and the whole gang here at fourth grade for the brilliant and intelligent artwork that they've done here to make this whole broadcast sing. I want you guys to keep pretending that I'm not here. You're doing a great job, and just keep on drawing and reading and writing, doing what you have to do, because I'm going to talk about some other kids. Not you, Mary, John, and Bob. These are kids from other schools. Did you know in some states it used to be against the law to teach blacks to read or write? Nowadays we're getting these integrated schoolrooms, and most people think that if we get enough teaching and enough jobs, everything is going to take care of itself. But there is a scar of history running right through kids as young as these. It tears you up if you know how to look at drawings kids make, because kids shouldn't know much about history and anything about discrimination. I mean, nobody hates little black kids, but why do some of them cause so much trouble? And if you ask black and white children to draw themselves, or trees, or houses, some strange things happen. We asked some ordinary white kids from ordinary families to make some drawings for us. Like, well, let's call him John. John's white, and we asked him to draw himself. This is John. This is his house, and this is his tree. Then we asked a black kid, Let's call him Ralph to do the same thing. This is Ralph's drawing of himself. This is his tree. Now, why should two kids of the same age draw so differently? Enter the expert. This is Dr. Emmanuel Hammer, psychiatrist specializing in children's therapy.
Oh, let me illustrate it for you. Let's take these drawings. No matter what a child draws, he's really picturing himself. Ask a secure child to draw a tree, and he's likely to draw a bountiful, spreading tree. A black child drew this tree, cut off in its growth, stark, bare, ungratified. It works the same way with drawings of people, normal children, average drawings. The mood is happy, the child feels capable, the drawings are complete, and the arms are developed to emphasize strength. These children were old enough to draw complete figures. The significant fact is what they left out: arms, hands. A child may sense that a situation in life is so powerless that he himself is equivalent to an armless man. My own study reveals that armless people appear 3 times more frequently in the drawings by black children than those by white. The faceless beings suggest that these youngsters not only feel themselves to be less than they might be, they don't even feel themselves to be. The black child who is forced to live in a hostile world may disappear in self-defense. He drifts through life feeling like a shadow. He stops caring and he stops trying. A child who has this on his mind cannot be a child. A child who has this on his mind could want to burn down cities when he gets older.
The whole confusion was summed up by a black 9-year-old in these 2 paintings. This is a 9-year-old boy draws a white man, Robin Hood maybe. And this is how the same boy draws himself. And this is the consequence of deformed history.
Linda, close the curtains. Brian, lower the screen. Bonnie, lights, please.
In the past 50 years, 33,000 feature films have been made in the United States, and about 6,000 of them have had parts for black actors. For the most part, the black portraits have been drawn by white writers, white producers, and white directors for a white audience. Most black parts were the way white Americans wanted them to be. The black male was consistently shown as nobody, nothing. He had no qualities that could be admired by any man, or more particularly, any woman.
When the sun goes down, the tide goes up, we like to gather around and they all begin to shout, hey, hey, Uncle Dudley.
White people didn't like to think much about them, sort of like a relative you got in a rest home. We happy darkies, dancing and singing was all they wanted to hear about. Being good Christians, the whites out front liked to think the blacks out back were kind of happy. Uncle Tom's Cabin was one of the first movies made that tried to say anything about black people. Uncle Tom was changed a little each time it was put on the stage, and all the parts were played by white actors. And by the time they made a movie of it in 1903, Uncle Tom was just the white man's idea of a good nigger. You might say he was what H. Rap Brown ate. They made this picture 5 times. And by the time they finished with it, Mickey Rooney could have played Uncle Tom. Minstrel shows started as the black man's entertainment for himself and the plantation owners. When they were filmed, though, they were done by a white cast. You figure that out. They were done as sort of a joke, and the black entertainer couldn't even get a job making fun of himself. The first really vicious anti-Negro film was called The Birth of a Nation, and it was a honey. And the second worst thing about it was that technically in 1918, it was the best movie that had ever been made. A cat named D.W. Griffith produced it, and he knew how. See? Birth of a Nation pretended to tell the story of the Civil War and what happened afterwards when the slaves were freed. White women couldn't walk on their own sidewalk, if you believe the picture. In the South, Negroes got the right to vote, and the movie showed black vote collectors refusing to accept white votes, and black people sneaking in extra votes.
Notice their face is painted.
If these
right?
black bad guys don't look very bad,
Yeah,
to you,
they
it's
couldn't
probably
even play
because
black
they were
people
white
in the
actors
movie.
wearing burnt cork.
When
Negro
they branded
legislators
on the
took
black
over in the
people.
South, and in the film they were made to look like apes. This was the movie version of how it looked in the Southern state legislature.
Look how they do us,
They
man.
drank whiskey.
Look at that shit.
They ate chicken with their hands in the state house.
That's what we did in
They
the
put
state
their
house,
feet up
right?
on the table with the shoes on.
They trying to say
And of
this
course,
is
they
in
passed all
black's
sorts of
rule.
crazy laws according to the
Hold
film.
up.
Like anybody could marry
I don't
anybody
remember
they
this
wanted
part,
to.
and I've seen this before, and it's just I don't know how I don't remember this part. Birth, because you know, Birth of a Nation it was made 3 different times, but one was about what he's talking about, which I totally forgot about, and then it's also the Birth of a Nation when they spoke upon what's the name of the one we just saw when he rebelled against the black people, against the white people, he started killing them, and then after homeboy made that movie, we ain't heard from him no more. Damn it, something Nathaniel, something. Help me out, guys. Help me out.
Oh,
Help
I
me
wasn't
out.
paying no attention. I'm over here suffering with this abscess, and I'm going through it. I'm just trying to hang in there with you, girl. But I know what you're talking about.
I Nate something. He just did the another version of it with the black man, The Birth of a Nation. And right after he did that movie, the actor, we have not seen him again. He was in a lot of movies. He was in a lot of movies. And once he redid that one, he put up his own money. We ain't seen that man no more. They at first they got him with some type of they dug up some old woman and said that when he was in school he had sex with this white woman, and now she claimed that it wasn't she didn't say that they can do it. It wasn't consensual. And the next, they hung that man. They not hung him, but I mean they blackballed him out of the thing. But this one, I didn't. They trying to say in this one, this is how black people would act if we was in charge, drinking wine, feet out, eating chicks. This is what they think about us. And y'all want to believe something changed today? It has not. Nate Parker, oh my God, thank you for self. I love you. I love you. I love you. Nate Parker. Now you know what I'm talking about, boss lady?
Yes.
That remember Nate Parker was in a lot of movies when he redid the movie. So it's two, as we see, it's 2 different births of a nation. One where they're mocking us, trying to say that my phone only waits till I'm on live to call. Trying to say that we cheated on the votes. Now, not the mind you see them with the black face on. So they're trying to say we cheaters, we liars, we bums, we this, but unbelievable. But we're gonna finish checking this out. And this is the Bill Cosby nobody talks about. Nobody know that he was down for the cause a long time. And how that man still tried to show us black people in a good light. He got crucified for the Cosby Show. Like Bill Cosby, now you see him a little differently, right?
No, I've always seen Bill Cosby in a good light. It's just that when they came up with these allegations of these women, let these women railroad him. I feel like after 20 years, and if they never made charges on him, then I don't feel like they should have been able to convict that man, because that was ridiculous what they did to Bill Cosby. It's just a shame and a travesty.
Well, you got to remember, they didn't forget these videos. Just because you do something, when you do something, you positive up to your own people, you still have to pay for that. So they didn't forget these videos. You understand what I'm saying? He just ain't got for that. So when modern technology came out, and then they saw this, they're like, oh, nope. We got everything. Remember, they made sure, and I think, what's that comedian? Eddie Griffin said it the best. When an entertainer died, they're going to make sure they stain your name before you go. So let's finish watching this because this is getting good. And this, I forgot this part, and it just really like blew my mind. Look, passions of a bill providing for the intermarriage of blacks and whites.
It was obvious to anyone who saw this picture that Negroes weren't fit to govern themselves or anyone else because they really weren't people.
Look at that.
This film is 50 years old, and it may look silly and out of date now, but it didn't look silly when it was made.
Can you imagine 20?
Several million Americans who saw it were propagandized to believe that this is the way things would be if they weren't careful. So they've been pretty careful. Colonel Cameron, a former officer in the Confederate Army, is all upset over the way Northerners and the freed slaves are changing his South, taking the mint julep right out of his mouth. So he takes a walk one day while he's worrying about it, and he sees two white kids playing, and then four black kids come along. Being hardly human and naturally afraid of ghosts, the black kids run. Colonel Cameron sees the whole scene, gets his great idea. And with this, that great white all-American organization, the KKK, was born. The cavalry and the bedsheet has come to the rescue. The South is saved. In this picture, the Ku Klux Klan was the good boy who saved the South. Most Hollywood films, though, even the early ones, weren't really nasty. Nobody was sitting around saying, hey, let's take care of the niggers. What producers were doing was making money. And to make money, they made pictures that white ticket buyers would enjoy. They showed Negroes the way most Americans like to think of them. To blame Hollywood is like throwing a rock at the mirror because you don't like what you see in it. Burt Williams was one of the great vaudeville performers. He couldn't get parts in white pictures, so he made a lot of short comedies. He played the part most Americans consider typical Negro. It wasn't bad, really, just lazy, stupid, and happy the way he was. And his feet hurt. He was afraid of most everything. And when he was scared, he shook and his teeth chattered. Unlike a scared white man, the black man's eyes could pop out of his head. When he was scared, he was so scared he couldn't talk. And he was also so scared he couldn't run. Black women, on the other hand, were steady and imperturbable. They stood like a rock on the face of things that scared black men. Another strange physical characteristic was when they were really very scared, the guys turned white. When you look back on these old films, the patterns come jumping out at you. The most consistent thing about them was the attack on the black man. He was never even given the privilege of being a man. He was a boy.
Mad today. We didn't have nothing to do with that.
Here, boy.
That's another conversation.
They had a lot of other great qualities besides being cowardly. For instance, they stole chickens.
That's another conversation.
Who's in there? Who's in there? Ain't nobody in there but us chickens.
They shot craps.
Dice, your papa talking to you now, Dice. Come on. Just hit it one more time.
And lions weren't the only thing they were afraid of either. They were afraid of gorillas.
Wallace Rose, is that you next to me? Wonderful. Is that you next? Now, come on, Wallingford. Now, don't stand on. Come on, tell me the truth. Is that you next to me? Wallingford, please say yes, that's you.
They were also afraid of ghosts and skeletons.
Jeff? Is that you scratching my head? Jeff? Jeff! Now, come on, now, what are you looking at? What's your hurry, Buzz?
Even when they were little boys, they had these characteristics. Farida in our gang was the boy. The tradition of the lazy, stupid, crap-shooting, chicken-stealing idiot was popularized by an actor named Lincoln Theodore Monroe Andrew Perry. Cat made $2 million in 5 years in the middle 30s, and everyone who ever saw a movie laughed at Step and Fetch It.
Come out, wherever you is, wherever you be, wherever you do. Come out, wherever you am. How's the government looking for you? Where you going, stranger? You scare somebody stiff like that. I'm looking for hillbillies as you are. I ain't saying I am and I ain't saying I ain't. Well, that's close enough for me, because I'm tired of walking myself. The government told me I got to bring in a hillbilly, so you come go with me to Washington. I ain't a-going. That's the color of another home. But I tell you, you don't go for me. We go for the Navy. No! I go for the Navy. I tell you, go for the Army. No, I won't go for the Army.
It's too bad he was as good at it as he was. The character he played was planted in a lot of people's head, and they remember it the rest of their lives as clear as an auto accident.
What's that? Are you an Indian? Yes, man, you don't know. I got Army Indian. I got one for the Cherokee, two for Seminole, and I got 4 bills Hiawatha. Wait a minute. Hiawatha was a woman. I can't help it. I got 4/5 of them.
He played in movies with other actors who were as American as Mom's raspberry jello. If they accepted the stereotype, how wrong could it be?
Judge Rick, I see you someplace.
Well, I'm pretty busy.
Yes, but I just want to ask if you cared about it.
Hear about what?
About over at my house, night before last.
Another baby?
Yes, you sure guessed it, you heard.
What's his name?
Oh, we call him L.R. Lars Rigby Livingston.
Named him after me, did you?
Yes, the Lars Rigby. I told my wife, I said, honey, I know the judge sure gonna be gratified.
Well, of course, I appreciate the honor.
Yes,
I suppose a compliment, and I ought to do something for it.
yes, that's what I thought.
You come over to my place tomorrow, and I'll give you a job.
Yeah.
Rake and leave.
I asked you for what?
All-American little Shirley Temple played a lot of parts that involved her with black actors. She was always real nice to them.
Henry, you always do it wrong.
This is an imitation Step and Fetch It named Willie Best with Shirley.
Come on, Miss Birdie. I just won't budge. I'll show them I'm
The
not.
cute little white girl was brave and strong in the face of danger. And the big black man was stupid and cowardly.
What are you afraid of them for?
Oh, honey child, them Yankees is mighty powerful. They can even change the weather.
Yes?
Whenever they come around, I never know whether it's winter or summer. I'm shivering and sweating at the same time.
Jim Henry, serve these cookies to Master Harold and wipe his chin.
Yes, ma'am, Miss Bird.
She was good to them, and they were good to her. Sort of a master and pet relationship.
How would you like to see Uncle Billy dance?
All right, James Taylor, let's get going, son.
This is Bill Bojangles Robinson, one of the great ones.
I
If he
remember.
wanted to work and dance, he had to come into a picture through the servants' entrance. Shirley was good to children, too. They loved their little mistress, and she treated them real good,
Look, Sally Ann.
just like they were equals.
Go on now, Sally Ann.
Miss Virgie, please, ma'am. We all done come here to wish him many happy returns. That's it, many happy returns of the day. And we all done made you $1. Here it is. Miss Virgie, there was more I had to say, but Emmy, I forgot it. Don't you worry. This is the very nicest present I got. Thank you ever so much.
Yes, indeed, children. It was very thoughtful and sweet. Come now.
I'll see you later. Say me. Oh, we'll be waiting.
I suppose it might have surprised a lot of Hollywood producers to know a scene like that could actually make a lot of people, mostly black, sick to their stomach. This is a lot of fun, isn't it? The newsreels that were shown along with feature films knew a good thing when they saw it. They helped keep all the black cats in the place. Nobody black ever did anything very newsy in a newsreel. They did things like eat watermelon in watermelon eating contests.
Oh my God. Poor black man.
Then another favorite for the newsreel cameraman was to film people throwing things at them.
I remember that.
Good sport. Some college football publicity man decided this was a good idea. And there were a lot of very funny golf pictures. If you weren't black, they were funny, I guess.
Y'all see this?
Lie down. Just bite out of your mouth.
Don't miss, boss. Don't miss.
Well, you keep still, see? Otherwise, you'll have flowers in your room and you won't smell them. Oh, boy. Oh, wait.
When I try to tell somebody this information, I'm always wrong, and I'm the bad guy. And when I try to tell people, we were part of the sport. We were the sport. We was the zoo. The first zoo that was made, we were the zoo. Before they brought in the animals and stuff, we were the zoo. Our babies was fed to the eye. Can you imagine having a baby? They take your baby and feed it to a damn alligator just to lure it in? And it's not our fault. Where my ladies at? Where are my ladies at? That's another.
You know what? And the thing.
It's not our fault. The hate that the black men have for us, we did not take your manhood from us. Y'all worrying about us submitting. We never took your manhood. This is what took your manhood. It's not our fault. We didn't make y'all not be a man. This is what made y'all not be a man. If anybody want to come up, please come up. Please come up. You back, boss lady?
Okay, yeah, I'm back. I had messed around and hit the doggone button. But yeah, what I was saying is, dang, lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. Bring me back.
We was talking about we was being the sport and how they was doing us.
Oh, yeah. And the thing of it is, that's what I was saying. Now to this day, they're still kidnapping kids and doing things with them, putting them on display and raping them and feeding them to people and all that to this day. Even with the President 45, he was talking about it. That's why they wanted him to shut up, because he was talking about all the trafficking and everything that they was doing. He kept bringing it up. That's one thing they can't say about Donald Trump. He was putting it out there on the forefront.
I'm telling you, that's another conversation. See, the black man, they got this manosphere, they disrespecting us, and we the one had to stand strong and hold y'all back. Every which way y'all turned, y'all was disrespected. It had nothing to do with the black woman. Had absolutely nothing to do with the black woman. It had nothing about the woman being the alpha. You were never, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to accept the fact it may have existed in your household, but you were never an alpha male in this country. You're gonna have to accept that. It's not our, you were never. And they back at my house, okay, but once you walked out of your house, you was yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. And it's gotten to the point that all you do is, oh, we got big mouth, or the black woman got big mouth, or the black woman is. No, talk about where it started from. All we ever
well,
did,
we had to stand up. Well, we had to run our house and run their house and run businesses and raise kids and their kids and everything. And then they wonder why we got mouths.
And why they was, but far as their manhood, don't try to, we don't want to hear that now. If you don't want to come where we can heal as a black woman and a black man, I don't have no time to entertain the conversations of who, what. No, are we going to heal? Are we going to heal? Because you must not know your history. This is something very vital to show where your manhood went. Y'all never had it. Even when y'all fought in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, y'all came back and was treated still as less as a citizen. Y'all went and fought wars and still wasn't considered a man. That's the black woman's fault too, right? But we had to, when you came back home to us and you was now on drugs, or you was now on shell shock, or you now became an alcoholic from all the things that you saw when you was abroad, who was there for you? Who had your kids, and who was there for you? Who was scared every night because you used to have them dreams in the middle of the night? And for the level of disrespect that you men have for us is unbelievable. That's another conversation. So get ready for that conversation. Well, we're going to have that conversation, but we're going to finish this out. This is just mind blown because I've seen it, but to see it again is like, oh.
Everything suggested the black man was nothing.
Look at that. Look at that shit. And they clapped.
Hollywood adopted a sort of British attitude toward black natives of other countries. They were always sneaking around the bushes, carrying stuff on their head. White men weren't supposed to get caught sweating. I've seen a picture called Prestige, and it stated the colonial attitude.
Don't let it break, Andre. Take to him your race for a wedding gift. The prestige of the white man. That means everything you stand for, and it is the only weapon you two will have. Prestige. That it is enough to preserve you.
Yes, sir. And I'll try to remember it. If you'll kiss me.
Even though most non-white natives of any place were savages in films, it often pleased white producers to endow a few chosen blacks with the virtue of great loyalty to him, the white man. Here's one defending Anne Harding to the death. There was always one loyal and true black man who would do anything for his master. Some of them were wonderful people. If you really get a good one. Mostly, though, Negroes were not heroes. They were a bit part servants, railroad porters.
Watch your step, sir. Now, this is your destination, folks.
They made very good chauffeurs.
Yep.
Looked good in their caps.
Yep.
Good morning, Colonel, sir.
And they were great at serving all kinds of drinks.
That coffee stays with you like 4 leaf.
What's that you got there?
Just phosphorus tea.
Wherever there was a thirsty master, there were they also. Play it in your mind.
Handy.
I don't know if I can stretch one small chicken, but as long as the water's running, we'll have soup enough.
Lottie, will you take Kay upstairs, wash all that goo off her face, and give her a good...
And one question they never answered: when the Negro woman was taking care of the white woman's kids, who was taking care of hers?
Thank you.
They did all kinds of odd jobs around the picture, like walking horses. When they weren't walking horses,
I wish the black man understand that. I wish the black man understand that. While we was out there taking care of, and y'all wonder where the dysfunction come from. You wonder where the whippings come from. Because we got whipped, and then being that the kids had to mind, they had to babysit them own selves. The parents beat them to stay in line. So that's been transferred down. This is how we got so dysfunctional. You have to go back in time. And if Black History Month is not teaching this, it's useless. How do you feel about that, boss lady? About the point that he made was the question was never answered, that when we was taking care of everybody else's kids, who was taking care of ours? How do you feel about that one? Boss lady? Is she on here? Boss lady? All right, she'll be back. We will keep it going. If anybody else want to come on the panel, you are more than welcome. Hey, underrated, you found me, you found me, you found me, you found me. Like I said, our people has been dysfunctional, but we have to go back. We have to now start to learn how to heal. We have to learn how to heal. They want to blame the Black woman for everything, but everything was put on us. And we also know we have to understand what was put on the Black woman and what was put on the Black man. Hey, my sister in the house, sound off, my sister. Foot soldier? Sis?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Stuff like this pisses me off.
I know it, but how do you feel about the video so far?
You know, we used to watch these because this is all they put on TV. So my parents was watching this stuff. It's a shame.
It is a beyond shame. So the same way we have to accept, the Black man have to accept the fact that what was put on us. And this is why a lot of Black parents, they always say, oh, I'm doing the best that I can do, because we never really had a chance to be mothers, because we was mothering other people's kids. Once that stopped, you know, we had to learn how to be families again. And we only did that for a little period of time, because every time we tried to get somewhere, they brought in another device. You know, they brought in alcohol, they brought in drugs, and they put you in all these little projects and boxes with each other. And we also have to understand the psychological warfare our men been through. We both been through two different psychological warfares. So I get it when my Black man always got to keep reminding us, which we don't really need to hear, but I'll listen when they got to keep reminding us, I'm alpha, I'm an alpha male, I'm a man, I'm a man. I get it. I get it. Because it was taken from you, but not from us. So don't try to get it back from the person who did not take it from you. But you also have to understand why we are so strong. You got to say a Black woman, you know, they may be a little bit rough. They may have that mouth because they are used to protecting. So while they was demasculating us, the Black woman had to protect. She may not be the best mother because she wasn't able to be the best mother to her own child. Only thing she could do to her own children was discipline them. Or if the man wasn't around, you gotta remember, women were raped. A lot of the Black women they had to sell themselves. Them Caucasians made us sell ourselves for money. So until we could come to that type of agreement, not agreement, but until we come to that type of, I can't think of the word, but we have to know these are the things that have been done to us. But Black women, we have to at least understand that our men was demasculated and effeminate since they got here. But the Black men have to understand we didn't do it to you. So talking about us does not get your manhood back. You can have whatever manosphere chat, you can have your Kevin Samuels, you can have your manosphere, you can have everybody that when it comes down to disrespecting a Black woman, you can clap all you want, but that's still not gonna get your manhood back because we didn't take it from you. You better go back to the people who took it from you. Until you can go face the people and say, why you have me eating watermelons? Why was when you was throwing the baseball, why was my head, my face, the place where you threw the ball? Why was my mouth the place that you hold the golf ball to shoot the golf ball? Why was my body, instead of the hole that the golf ball belongs in, why did you swing that at me? Why did you take me from my family? Why did you make me have all these illegitimate kids? Because it kept moving you from place to place to place to place, to the point that you didn't know how to be a dad because you never had a chance to stick around to be a dad. All these things need to be addressed for us to heal. But as we see, it's not going to happen because they don't know where to direct that pain. So they want to direct it as they directed it to the Black women then. They're still directing it to the Black woman now. How do you guys feel about that? Boss lady, foot soldier. Guys, foot soldier.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm trying to make me a doctor's appointment right now, but yeah, we have really had to survive all of that and some, and bring the family through, and we have kept the family on top. So, yeah, I'm with you, but I'm making a doctor's appointment, so I'll be on silent for a second. But I hear everything you're saying, sis.
All right, boss lady.
Remember, she said she'll be back.
All right, so I'm going to play some more of this. All right, guys.
Horses, they're out back playing craps, of course. Recreation. They met people at the station for their masters.
Is you folks,
We've come all the way from Ireland. Mr. Milford's expecting us. Mr. Milford.
Yes'm, you is which I'm looking for. I'm Mr. Milford's boy.
His boy, you say?
Yes, sir. Murphy's the name, sir.
Did you say Murphy?
Yes, Mrs. Murphy. They calls me Walking Murphy.
Walking Murphy?
Yes, sir. Most of us Murphys down here just sit. I walk.
They make wonderful servants, all kinds in pictures. Dumb but loyal.
Yeah. Isn't it a beautiful night? I just love parties, don't you?
I beg your pardon?
Thank you kindly. Yes? Hello? Oh, this is the Barragan residence.
things were getting pretty tough during the 30s. A good thing for a lot of black actors was that they made a movie called The Green Pastures with, like they say, a cast of thousands. It gave a lot of people work, but it had all the old stereotyped characters. It was clever and funny and all black. But it was a white man's picture.
I'm the Indian. Henry, you sure got the prettiest wings.
Oh, they're just my old ones.
Cigar, gentlemen, cigar. Just have yourself. Cigar, gentlemen, cigar. Oh, Lord, the smokehouse is empty. Oh, Lord, let me get them groceries. Oh, Lord, let me see that little sick. Where? Come on, you gonna feed me or not? Hey!
Why, you just a little boy, gambling and sinning and chewing tobacco like you was your own pappy. And you've been drinking Sonny Kick Mammy wine, too. You gamblers ought to be ashamed of yourself leading this boy to sin.
Well, he's the best crapshoot in town.
You find my mammy, do more than I can.
While Hollywood was turning out films, radio came along and decided to get in on it, too. Two white fellows from Chicago invented two black characters they named Amos and Andy.
Amos and
They
Andy.
played their parts on the radio for 30 years.
Yep.
This is them doing their bit.
Well, Brother Crawford looks pretty good since he's been here. Tom Springs, don't he? Yeah, looks like his wife done beat him on.
When radio moved over to let television in, Amos and Andy went with it. These two white cats couldn't play Amos and Andy where you could see them, so what they did was they had a black cast. Cast was different, but the stereotypes were the ones that the white people had come to know and love. They were shady characters with money.
Well, I got the books right here, and they're open to each and every brother complete inspection. Get your hands off of that thing there. So you want to see the financial books, huh? Yeah. Well, there it is. There it is. You done see them. The meeting's adjourned.
They were still slow and lazy.
Are you sure they are not here? Oh, yes, they told me so themselves.
Have them report to our office right away.
I sure tell them, all right. I got to.
They had trouble with the English language, misused words a lot.
And Mr. Brown, my new secretary here, ain't gonna have no time for no extracurricular activities.
And I'm telling you now, as long as you have that secretary in your office, I'm going to work as a secretary myself.
Oh, give me an ultimatum, huh? I'm putting my foot down.
They had trouble with women. And it was always the women who were dominant.
Come on, Herman.
Mostly black actors aren't playing the old stereotypes anymore. There are people who say they're playing a new stereotype. Sidney Poitier is always helping some little old ladies across the street, whether they want to go or not. Black people in this country got a bum deal for a long while, and it won't hurt much if we see a little of that now and then. Stanley Kramer has let us use some scenes from Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. You look at these and remember Birth of a Nation. This is the opening scene when Catherine Hutton is bringing Sidney home for the first time.
This is Dr. Prentice, John, Miss Matilda Binks.
Pleased to meet you, Miss Banks. I've certainly heard a great deal about you.
Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy are the girl's parents.
Dottie's right. She's 23 years old, and the way she is just exactly the way we brought her up to be. We answered her questions. She listened to our answers. We told her it was wrong to believe that the white people were somehow essentially superior to the black people, or the brown or the red or the other ones, for that matter. People who thought that way were wrong to think that way. Sometimes hateful, usually stupid, but always wrong. That's what we said. And when we said it, we did not add, but don't ever fall in love with a colored man.
Sidney tells it like it is to his old man.
You and your whole lousy generation believe the way it was for you is the way it's got to be. And not until your whole generation has lain down and died will the dead weight of you be off our backs. You understand? You've got to get off my back. Dad, you're my father. I'm your son. I love you. I always have, and I always will. But you think of yourself as a colored man. I think of myself as a man.
By the time the world of movies and the world of education get into the streets of Black America, some strange things happen. Because what history and the movies have told the black man is that he's nobody unless he joins the white world.
The white world only comes into the black ghetto by messenger. The message used to read, black is nothing, white is beautiful. For this reason, a lot of black people have spent their lives trying to be white. For instance, hair. Some people still call straight hair good hair because it looks like white hair. Kinky hair is bad hair. The man on the right is having his hair cut naturally. The man on the left is having a process. What the barber is doing is applying harsh chemicals to his head so he'll have straight hair, like all those movie stars have. It's a painful, long job that costs about $6 and has to be looked after every couple of weeks. These days, many young black men find the whole process demeaning. It's going out of fashion, even in the ghetto. It takes pain to become like a white man, and more pain when you know you can't make it. For a while, it seemed to the black community that the way to escape was to get as rich as possible and look as white as possible. And as affluence came to some black people, all the lessons of history and all the lessons of the movie seemed to be succeed on the white man's terms. So, the middle-class Negro took the white man's dreams and tried to make them his. Today, many middle-class Negroes have the education and the money to provide themselves with all the white man's dreams but one, universal social acceptability. He has not yet been able to join in any normal or casual way the white man's affluent society, so he has his own. The white man's attitudes still exclude the black man and the black woman.
Nothing changed in this country.
Nothing
that says
changed.
that any man by his merit can make it. That is not true. Do not believe that. It is not true. Because any man in this society cannot make it. That's where the whole fallacy is.
Well, I think we
the
all know
white
that.
man
That's
keeps
what we're
saying
all
to you,
about.
if you just stop being black, if you just stop shooting your people on Saturday night, just stop talking Negro dialect, if you clean yourself up,
Yep.
get yourself a job,
Say
you're
that
going to make
today.
it in this society. It's not true.
Not true.
I know for myself, I have a master's degree in social work, and I know that people won't accept me. And I was an honor student, and I know I can make it. They won't accept me. They don't discriminate against me because I'm a Christian. They're discriminating against me because I'm black.
The message down here is coming in stronger. It's be yourself, be black. The new generation of black young Americans is asserting itself in a new and possibly disturbing way.
Many black Americans are giving up on American society. If you can't wash white, even if you have the money, if you can't wash white because you are basically black, what you do is react, sometimes radically. Here is a measure of the reaction to white is beautiful. This is a storefront school in Philadelphia. The children are being given a black preparation before they enter the city's schools. They're not especially gifted children, they're just from the neighborhood. One black man named John Churchville put it all there in finance.
Right? You understand that? All right. A number is a concept of quantity or an amount. That is wrong.
No!
A number is a concept of quantity or an amount. That is dead wrong.
He's not only teaching new math to children whose ages range from 17 months to 5 years, he's decided to give them the emotional armor they need to protect themselves against the education they're sure to receive when they start kindergarten.
Anybody tells you something wrong, are you going to do it?
No!
All right. What do you want?
They don't do that no more.
Freedom.
When do you want it?
I want my freedom now.
No, you have to wait till next week. You can't have it now. Can you wait till next week? Okay. Sit down. All right, young man, stand up. When do you want your freedom, young man?
I want freedom now.
You can wait till next week, though, can't you?
No.
Michael, you just have to wait till next week. You can't have it now. Are you willing to wait till next week?
No.
Suppose I said that you have to wait till next week. Now, you're going to wait till next week, aren't you?
No.
How are you going to get your freedom?
I will use any means necessary to get my freedom.
Any means necessary?
Yes.
You know, all right, sit down. Young man, what is your name?
My name is Eric Houston.
Levante. What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
What is freedom?
Freedom is black power.
What is black power?
Black power is...
Do you know what black power is?
No.
Well, then you should never make any statements if you don't know what they mean.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
All right. How old are you, young man?
I am 4 years old.
Wow.
You're not 4, Eric. Now you tell me your right age. How old are you? How old are you?
I am 4 years old.
Are you sure you're 4?
That's how the police
You're
get
gonna let
you.
me turn you around and tell you you're some other age? You're 6 years old, Eric.
That's how the police get you.
I can't hear you, Eric.
Oh my gosh.
Are you being frightened by me?
No.
I'm a teacher.
Oh, wow. Do you see how he's preparing them not to get trapped off by the police? Boss
Right.
lady, what has, we need to go back in time and teach our kids. Where are these men at besides talking about women all day? Do you see how they asked the boy a question? Is that the same thing what happened with the Central Park 5 and all these other things when they put you in that interrogation room and he said the answer correct and look how he tried to shake him up and the boy got scared and then he started thinking about it. Do you see how that's still going on today? And nobody's preparing our youth for this. Nobody. And a lot of parents are good parents, but we make me want to go back and, oh, I'm glad maybe I could do it with my grandson. I do it with my son too, but I would have been more militant with my son. But now sometimes you got to go back in history to bring that back up. Now I got to start talking like this to kids. How do you feel about that part, Boss Lad? I didn't hear what you said. Boss lady? All right, we're going to finish it because as you see, this is almost finished. This is phenomenal. Bill Cosby, you did your thing.
Sure, I said you're 6.
I am 4 years old.
All right, then. You stand up for it, then. You shouldn't be weak. You stand up and say it. You ought to scream it in my face if I try to tell you different, right?
Yes.
Have a seat. Stand up, young man. Are you a Negro, Travis?
No.
Are you a flunky, Travis?
No.
What are you?
I am black and big.
And what else are you? Are you a boy?
No.
What are you?
Thank you,
I'm a man.
What kind of man?
Black and beautiful man.
Or what kind? Are you an old man or a young man?
Young man.
Very good. Very good. Are you going to let somebody just make you a boy?
No.
All right. Suppose I tell you something wrong, Travis. Are you going to do it?
Yes.
You're going to do something if I tell you when it's wrong?
No.
Have a seat, young man. Eric, you're going to be reasonable, aren't you?
No.
Come here. Here you are, fine young man, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to be scared of me?
No.
Are you going to be scared of some president of the United States?
No.
Some mayor?
No.
Some policeman?
No.
All right. You're a Negro. Yes! You're a Negro, Eric.
No.
Somebody pass me my stick. I said you're a Negro, boy.
No.
You're getting mighty soft. You're a Negro.
No.
Very good.
Oh my God,
All right,
beautiful, beautiful.
You, young man, you come here. Your nationality is American Negro. Yes.
No.
Your nation. Now look, don't play with me. You're a Negro.
No.
I am.
No.
Suppose I threatened to beat you. What would you say? Aren't you a Negro now?
No.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Suppose I had some money in my pocket. Suppose I gave you $1 to say that you're an American Negro. This is money now. Money talks. Money talks. This $1. And if you don't say it, you don't get it. You're an American Negro, aren't you?
No.
You won't have any money. You know you need money, don't you?
Yeah.
You need money to live, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. All you have to say, Leon, is that you're an American Negro. Aren't you an American Negro? Are you an American Negro?
No.
What are you?
I'm black and beautiful.
What's your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
Very good, man. Keep it up. Go sit down. You had to think about that a minute, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. All right, everybody. What is your nationality?
My nationality is Afro-American.
All right. What will do to you in different ways when you get out of the school? They're not going to just come right up to you and give you $1 or say, if you say that you're an Afro-American, if you say you're an American Negro, I'll give you $1. But they're going to be very nice to you, some of them, and they're going to try to, get you not to love black people. They're going to try to get you to, be something other than you are. They're going to try to make it seem as though you're different from the masses of black people. And they want you to go away. Now, I'll tell you, I'll give you special things if you just come along with me and do what I say. You must reject that. Now, you know what that means? That means you're not going to have the money you'd like to have. And money is not important. We need money. We have to buy things with it. But money is not the thing that we're living for.
It sound like the rappers, huh? It sound like the rappers.
I said till this day.
He's teaching them about the elite and what you call them people, them Uncle Toms and the rest of them. We need to get back to this. And then he taught these kids this before they went into regular school. Before you sold out, you became a coon. That's where I was before. How about them coons? He's teaching them not to be a coon. He said they're going to give you stuff and they're going to be nice to you and give you money so you could turn on your own people, especially the black woman.
The only thing that makes a person worth living is being a man and being a woman, being strong in character, being straight, telling the truth and living in the truth and doing the right thing. You understand that? So no matter what happens, I want you all to always tell the what? You may not get the marks you're supposed to get in school. You may be doing the work, but because the teacher doesn't like your attitude, and she'll always tell you, I don't like your attitude. Because you're independent, but you're not going to school for grades. You're going for what?
Yeah.
All right. And what kind of people is everybody in this room going to be? Tell me the kind of people you're going to be.
Black and beautiful.
What else? You're already that. What are you going to be? You're going to be stupid?
No.
What kind of people are you going to be?
Excellent.
You're going to be excellent. And what else? Yes, ma'am. Strong. And strong. And what else?
And good.
And good. And what else?
Smart.
And genius. And a genius. And what else? I'm looking for another word. All of you are geniuses right now, and you'll be better than that. What else? I'm looking for a word that begins with a B.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Brilliant. And brilliant really means to shine. And all of you will shine. All of you are really going to be brilliant. Good enough. All right. How does everybody feel now? You ready to get ready for lunch?
Yeah!
Who's hungry?
Well, it's kind of like brainwashing. Or is it? I mean, can you blame us for overcompensating? I mean, when you take the way black history got lost, stolen, or strayed, when you think about the kids drawing themselves without faces, and when you remember the fine actors who had to play baboons to make a buck, I guess you got to give us a sin of pride. Pride. Hubris in the original Greek. It's 300 years we've been in this American melting pot, and we haven't been able to melt in yet. And that's a long wait. Listen, we've been trying all kinds of parts to make the American scene. We've been trying to play it straight and white.
Yep.
But it's been just bit parts.
Yep.
Now, from now on, we're going to play it black and American, because we're proud of both. Hubris. I'm Bill Cosby, and you take care of yourself.
All right. What is a set?
A set is a collection of objects.
What is a subset?
A subset is part of a set.
What is a member?
A member is one unit of a set.
What, in terms of set comparison, does larger mean? Everybody together. I'm going to ask you all the questions. Let's see if you can do it. All right. What is arithmetic?
Arithmetic is not a number.
What is a number?
A member is one unit of a set.
What is, in terms of set comparison, what does larger mean?
Larger means a set that has more members in.
In terms of set comparison, what does smaller mean?
Smaller means a set that has less members in.
All right. All right. Now, quickly, look up on the board, relax, but think very quickly. You understand?
Yeah.
All right. In terms of set comparison, we want to compare two sets, and I want you to tell me which is.
Woo! How did you feel about the Martin Luther King segment and the Bill Cosby segment?
I liked it. It's very informative. It's a lot of things they don't want us to know. You just have to research. But there's a lot of this stuff we already knew. And like I said, today, we're still their entertainment, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting paid a whole lot of money for it. You look at the shows they put on TV for us to watch. Shows like Empower, Power. It's like we still, to this day, we can't be nothing but a whore or pimp or drug dealer. You notice that?
That's right. That's right. But back then it was the shooting the dice and all the numbers. Remember we used to run the numbers and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but see, when we had the moonshine, they took that away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now they open up liquor stores because they wanted part of that money.
Right.
We had the street numbers. Would they make the street numbers into lottery?
Yeah.
Okay?
Anything we made
had
money.
the Arabs. We had the Arabs every Saturday and Sunday coming down the street. We can get your fresh fruit and stuff. They cut that out.
But anything.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was like, anything we made money off of, they legalized.
Exactly.
That's why they in the sluts arrest to legalize marijuana now, because anything that we make money off of, they legalized it. They took us right out of it. Look at some of them Powerballs. be like $100 million. Like what? But can you imagine if all of that went to us and was still done the way we used to do it? That'd be money in our community.
That's where the street money was going. You put it down on a number, you getting $300, maybe $500. That was a lot of money then. The cost of living wasn't high. And even though there was a lot of racism, a lot of the fruits and vegetables wasn't the way they are now.
And when you sit there and try to tell people nothing has changed, that's why I don't keep having the same conversations over and over. It's like we're gonna have these conversations over and over, and then I don't care what movie you watch or whatever, whoever do a speech, it's the same speech from 300 years ago. Like, when is the speech going to change? You know, when it's nothing. People are like, oh, things change. No, only thing we got is a computer, and we got social media, but it's the same exact conversation over. If you notice what Bill Cosby was saying, that we got countless other ones, even till today, we still trying to find a solution. The solution is you have to stop fighting to give people your money. Stop. Just like what happened with, what was the girl went to Victoria's Secret, and Victoria's Secret made her leave. Then why did we pick it to go back into Victoria's Secret?
Started what? They want to protest, and why?
And then, even with the what was that, the Waffle House? Why did we protest back into the Waffle House? Anytime they show you one time they don't want your money, we should never give them our money again. But if we don't never hit them economically. So they don't take nothing we say seriously. Nothing. Even Martin Luther King said it's easy. It was easy to fight to go into their restaurants. They benefited. Everything that we fought for, they benefited from it. We never benefited from it. Because if we have not fought to eat in their stores, we would have had the money in our stores. But we fought so hard to get into their store, we forgot our own mom and pops that was on the corner.
They had stores back then. They had more stores then than we have now.
And look how we did our own stores, our own communities, to the point that we own nothing in our community. We own nothing in our community. Them candy stores we own. Now we have nothing. And then we turn against each other to the point that everybody will prefer to just stay single. Nobody don't even want to mate no more. That's how far apart we are from each other. Nobody don't want to even mate. That's crazy.
I call it looking black, acting white.
Yeah, now even with our celebrities, you know, our celebrities make it really, really hard for us.
It's like if we got the money, so we don't care. But you still own. You still a slave because your mind is not right.
See, with them, I'm disappointed because soon as they get the money from us, they give it back to them. Look, every name brand they got. Ask them how much stuff they got is black owned. First thing they want is the white man's car, the white man's pocket, the white man's purse.
Don't forget the woman. The woman.
Oh, the white man, woman. We just totally don't support us. And not to mind you, they come out with all of these things they want us to buy. Buy our jacket, buy our t-shirt, buy our cologne, which they don't even use. You want me to buy something of yours that you don't use. Like the smell is so good that you have on somebody else's smell. But you want me to buy this smell that you said you worked all these countless hours. That's like, I don't know what Rihanna wear, but Rihanna should wear nothing but Fenty. Ain't that your product? A lot of them don't even, like, I've never seen, like, you'll see them when they're advertising it. You'll see like Beyonce in like in a Blue Ivy. I'm so glad to hear other people who actually see the bigger picture. I feel like I live in my own truck. Oh, no. We went from Negro to colored. We wasn't even Negro. We wasn't even Negro. We was plain old nigga. We was boy. They didn't, them was the good names, the coloreds. But I think we was colored, colors to African American, from African American to black. But in the Bible, they said that the black people was going to get caught many by words. So in that part is true. We are many names. And we can't say we African because we're in Africa. We don't know. We all screwed up here. But we got to find a medium where we could heal. Some people was healing, but now the new sprue of the black man and the black woman with the manosphere and all this other stuff. And you got to see how happy they get. Like when they see a Kevin Samuels, you see the support that man get from, I mean, to disrespect the black woman, they get paid good money.
But you see how single he is, don't you?
Yeah, you see his wife can't raise. His wife say he owed child. One of his wife say he owed child support. We're gonna talk about that too. But he claimed he get all these women. But even if he's single or not, just the point of him disrespecting a black woman, he get paid. You got to see that man's when he online, how they hit him with them cash apps, how they keep that thing. You see more money going into the what you call that, the super chat than comments. Now you know we doing bad as a people. You ever talk about a high, what is that? A high man, a high value man, low value man. Then this other man, I want to talk about that maybe tomorrow. He got reasons why don't date a single mother. My thing is what qualifies any man, unless you come from a 2-family household and it was perfect, what qualifies you when you came from a single parent household to downgrade a woman for being a single mother? I would love to know that. And you can't say, well, because I come from one. But then you need to shut up. Being that you come from one, you are disqualified. Because you can't tell us what's so better about it. You can't tell us about the other side of it because you're not bought from the other side. You understand what I'm saying, Foot Soldier?
Yes, ma'am.
You can't tell me. You ain't know. You came from the same single parent household I come from. You don't know what the other side look like. So how can you compare it? And you don't know of your friend because they got a mother, father. You don't know what happened in their household. You can speak from your own experience. So if that's your own experience, you don't qualify. Because you just as effed up as the rest of them. You just as effed up as the rest of us who come from single parent households. So now you want deaf ears to me. But you get paid good money to talk about us, though. You don't be seeing them videos.
I watched Kevin Samuels one time. That was enough. I seen him. I was like, okay, we got a brother doing well, looking good. And I started looking at him real closely. I'm like, nigga, you up here with a candle, all dressed up. He just keep on putting on cologne and talking shit. I'm like, I wouldn't even went up there to ask him nothing.
He said, you sitting here with a candle.
Yeah. And it be all like dark, and I'm like, okay, you swindling your people. That's all you doing.
Yeah, off the black woman. Everybody everybody's always off the back of black women, to the point that even Bill Cosby said the question that has not been answered yet. Everybody is off our backs, from the black man to the white man to the black woman. Who was watching our kids while we was feeding other people's kids, and we was there for feeding the family? How was our kids eating? Who was
We
there
had
for
to finish. We did. We had to finish that job and go home and fix dinner for him and her, whoever was in that house.
Yeah,
You
but
imagine,
what happened to breakfast and lunch? You fed them breakfast and lunch, so them kids.
well,
That's
if you
what.
had kids, we had to teach our kids basically to take care of themselves.
Yeah, but that depends on their age bracket. That's why he said that we never got an answer for that. We never got a good answer for that. We never got a good answer for. Rumor has it on the DL the whole time. Rumor has it he was on the DL the whole time. Which, yeah, we could see that, Kiana. But I'm tired of the black woman being the butt of everybody's joke. I remember one time I went to a meeting, right? And it was like for the Parks Department. I do a lot of work with kids. And I'm telling you, I'm up in there and we had the black guys that was up in there. And they would not come nowhere near me. They came nowhere near me. They was key in every Caucasian woman's face. So you know me, I don't give a damn. I walk on up, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Nice day. And they probably like, what the hell? But I stuff like that. And I was like, hey, how you doing? Then I said to the Caucasian, hey, how y'all doing? I'm like, nice meeting here. I wouldn't just interrupt them, but I met them. He probably like, see, he probably said, this is why I don't like black women. But I did it nicely though. But I was just amazed. The black women, they were not talked to at all. But you have to see how they were social. I've seen that happened on numerous occasions. And that's sad. You can't even say hello. When a Caucasian woman is around, you can't even say hello to a sister. That's sad.
But we the messed up ones, right?
Oh yeah, you ain't know. We got the big mouth. We too masculine. We wasn't masculine when we was taking care of them kids though. We wasn't masculine. We wasn't masculine when they took all your manhood out of you, and you had to come home to us a half a freaking man, and we was still loving you. We wasn't our masculinity wasn't a problem then, right? But I want to speak upon we're going to get more into them subjects. But I thank you so much, Foot Soldier, for coming up. I thank all you guys for coming in. We will be having more subjects like this. I've done a video on here, and I have put on the video whatever type of topics you would like to talk about. Leave it in the comments. I'll do another one, so y'all can let me know what topics y'all want to cover, what topic you guys would like to talk about, so we get these.
I like this one. This one. We didn't even scratch the surface on this one. I'm with this.
No, we're gonna be doing a heck of a lot more like this. But I just wanted to say that I don't think this 28 days is necessary. That's a conclusion that I come to.
No.
Because if we had to search for this, then if this wasn't taught to us of Black History Month, which is Black History Month, and we had to search for it, then I could do this any day. I does this every day of my life. I'm Black, so I'm every day. Yesterday was history, so I'm still making Black history every day. The point of me waking up the next day, I just had Black history because Black history was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But we have to do more better. We got to do more healing, and we gotta start building up our sisters because we're taking a beating. Thank you, Sugar. Okay, Kiana. Thank you so much. But I'm gonna let you guys go. Yo, it's to the point. It's so cold. The snow is so bad out here. It's like what else to do but to talk to you guys, right? It's like y'all my company right about now. How's the weather out there by you, Foot Soldier?
We just had a little bit of snow. They was talking about that Houston situation,
Yeah, Ms.
Started out with the distraction of the 100-car pileup. That started it.
Oh, you know Ms. Rod still ain't got no electricity. Wait. Ms. Rod,
What happened to the backup?
They don't
Man.
they don't have any out there in Texas. So I finally got in contact with her by text, and she was like still nothing. And they have to find the people who live closer to the hospitals. They on a different grid. So luckily, somebody who live by the hospital, they got lights and stuff. So
yeah,
still have no electricity. Everything is still shut down.
Still peeing on us and telling us it's raining.
I hear that in a while, baby. You ain't gonna piss in my face and tell me it's raining. You old
That's
school.
what they doing. And we worried about this. This is our problem. It's not even at this point. We already know. Let's separate us from them, because that's what we need to start first and foremost. We already know how they get down. We already know what their agenda is. They show you and tell you every freaking day, but you're not getting it. You're not getting it.
Exactly. Preach, Foot Soldier. Preach.
They made videos on what they was gonna do. Can't find this video, but this guy sits there and tell you how he implemented the alcohol into our neighborhoods, the drugs, all this fornication, all this stuff.
Oh, Kiana said, I'm from New England up north, so I'm used to it, but I feel for those who are going through it. Oh no, honey, I'm not that far from you. We on the East Coast. I'm used to it too, but I'm just saying that don't mean I'm outside. That mean I'm inside talking to you guys. I'm used to it, but I'm not used to being outside. And I'm gonna be at home with it inside, nice and warm.
It's simple. Until we change our way of thinking, nothing's going to change.
Until we stop talking about the abuse, but talk about the abuse, if you understand what I mean. Hey, Black Star, you are late. You are late, and you're going to have to catch the rerun. You're going to have to catch the rerun, Black Star. You're going to have to. This was a good one. And let me know how you like it. But shalom. Well,
there's so much to get into. There's not enough time.
Yeah. And then, I'm just so glad some of my people found me over here, but some ain't found me over here yet. But hey, it's okay. It's okay. I'm happy to see my number ones. My number ones are still here, so I'm happy for that. But we will go through this subject again. It may not be, we will probably do a part 2 to this, a part 2 where we can get more people on the panel. Maybe I'll find some more videos. Hopefully I don't get struck from this video. I don't get no strikes for these videos. Well, I'm not monetized anyway, but they still find ways to mess with you. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you all so much. Black Star, catch the replay. Kiana, take care of you and that baby. Take care of that little girl. We will be having more topics. So thank you, Sister Foot Soldier. I shall see you tomorrow.
All right. You have a good night here.
All right, guys. Peace out.